Here's Airwax.
First time I got into Fortnite is because a friend asked me to play just for fun, and yeah, I enjoyed it, and now I'm here. The first time I realized I was good enough, I actually didn't realize. I knew I could be good at the game, so I just started to play a lot because I got the mindset to be good at a game. I practice. I play a lot of scrims, a lot of MM. How is it called, matchmaking? And that's it, creative. My weakness, I think, is that sometimes I'm over-aggressive, so I get out of position and die. I think the most important is to be smart, so the builds is the most important aspect of the game. I don't think it's not compatible with eSport Fortnite, but Epic is not doing. They're trying to do the best to make it possible, and they're close to making it possible. So I think sometime soon it's gonna be good eSport. I guess the coolest thing I had being a Fortnite player is coming to IEM. So yeah, I'll try my best to win it.
Always great to hear from these guys. Gentlemen, Airwax there, as I said, one of Stress's favourites. He's been watching him very intently throughout all of the games, and we heard from him there. Lots to say about his game, and obviously his thoughts on competitive Fortnite. But I need to welcome you guys to the desk. Starting off on the far side, we've got Lothar, the man with the, I'm going to say it right now, sorry rest of the broadcast team, the best hair on the broadcast team. It is phenomenal. It really,
thank you. It's
just
making me, embarrassed on the desk in the first seconds. It's fantastic opening.
Come on, man, it's a compliment. He's embarrassed by a compliment. And then next to me, we've got the world's bounciest man. It is Baller. How you doing, buddy?
I'm going to try not to bounce as much.
Oh, come on, man. I love it when you bounce.
Here we go.
There we go. There we go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Gentlemen, obviously, we've got 3 games done and dusted now. We're moving on to our 4th game. We started to see last weekend in our duos. Obviously, we only had 7 games of duos to decide things, but we started to see the lay of the land a little bit. We started to see which teams were consistently making it towards those end zones and picking up those points. We're starting to see that again now. We're seeing a lot of these teams get towards the end zone. But who's impressed you, Lothar, so far in the games that we've seen so far?
I'm very happy to actually see Cloud in the top. He's 16 only. This is his first LAN. And not only that, this is his first tournament ever.
That's phenomenal.
Insane pressure on him. And to perform like that, he was very close to actually getting a win at the same time. I think Myth had 2 kills. Cloud has 4. That's 30 points already, putting them in the top 5 right now. But at the same time, this is only the 3rd game, so we have an entire weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, we've got a lot of games to come. Baller, same question to you, buddy. Like, who has impressed you so far? Who has been consistent, and who are you looking out for to have big performances in our next 4 games?
For me, it's been Zayt and Saf. I think they're in 2nd right now. They've been having consistent performances.
What's up, Skeleton?
Towards that high ground late, which is exactly
really
what you
good,
want
man.
to see.
It's
We
really
didn't see them
nice.
in this game. They went down early, but again, you always make those high ground pushes. They're always there. All of a sudden, they're there.
Right now, they're
like,
doing
what?
this.
How did they do this? Another team that's been doing that as well is VP,
so I'm watching
SSK7 and Jamside. They've been doing the exact
Smith,
same thing. Unfortunately, this game as well, the story was different. So we're starting to see all these different threads start to kind of coalesce into one piece.
And it's going to be beautiful to watch it. As I say, we haven't been able to separate duos or any of the tournament competition until the last game of the day.
So I'm going to watch it and hope
we've got
I don't
14 games. And if it goes all the way down to the wire, it certainly is going to be something to watch tomorrow afternoon as we decide our duos champion. But Lothar, just something that you touched on there as we do see the duo standings coming up. Some of these guys, it's their first event on a stage like this. And they're like 16 years old, which is insane to me. The amount of pressure and being able to deal with it, that is so impressive for such a young guy.
And not only that, even for the older guys, when you play like an entire, let's say, lifetime on Fortnite from home, from your own setup, different desk, different monitor,
What is that?
It feels so different when you come to a LAN event right here, right now, and you need to get accustomed in just 24 hours. So to perform like you do at home, it's a big challenge, but they seem to be doing it well.
Now, Baller, let's talk about these stand-ins. As we can see, them
That
going
is not
down
gonna
to
play
the top
cards right
20
now.
there, Milan and Smith rounding off that top 20. Good stuff from those 2 young guys there. But, I mean, looking at the stand-ins now, is there any teams that you're looking at there that you're maybe surprised to see there? Obviously, we have some incredible, we have to say this, 100 incredible players in this lobby and 50 unbelievable duos, but anyone that's surprising you with how well they're playing at the moment?
Yeah, we already touched on Myth and Cloud. That's the big one. All right. But Katowice and Nero.
Hometown heroes.
The first 2 games, I want them to do so well just because the crowd is getting behind them a little bit. Every time they see them in the end game, they're like, yeah, Tayo. And it's just fun to see. We saw them last weekend. They didn't have the performance that they hoped for, but today they're doing really well.
Crashing?
Yeah. They have one problem, though.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
They jump on
Man,
a
this
new
is
location
wild. I really
want to
see Myth get back into in-game.
And their opponents already know the game plan
Myth
and
team
where
got
they
into,
land.
or
I think they're
Cloud
gonna
got
have to
into
change it
in-game
up
last
for this
round.
game because Nero got
He was,
lasered by a
they got
scope
second
AR
place,
in
but
the
Cloud
early
fell
game,
off the mountain.
and that was a huge issue for them. So I'm not gonna be surprised if they're gonna
The
change it up right
European
now.
team
Well, that was
won
what I was
it.
going to ask you. Obviously, now we're getting towards our game 4. You can see we're
But
just a
Cloud
few
would have
seconds away from
smacked them.
getting
Like, if
into
they
it
would have
now,
fought
but
instead
is
of
this the
Cloud
point
dying
where
to the storm,
we are starting to
Cloud
see
would
some of
have
these
smacked
drop
them.
spots change up because things haven't been going the way of these duos?
Yeah, definitely. All these players are going to start to realize exactly what is going on at their drop location. We already talked about Zayt and Saf versus Mitro and Kuna. We didn't actually see that fight at all yet because they've been just kind of disengaging and saying, hey, actually, we're good here. We don't need to take this fight. So all these players are kind of starting to feel out their spots, exactly what they need to do, exactly how the splits are going to go, and they can decide what to do in the future now.
So there's an unwritten rule. If you lose twice early game off spawn against someone else, you probably change your landing location. And it's interesting in Tilted Towers. We see like 2 big forces collide, and that might be a problem for the entire weekend, right? When you have 14 games like that. Be tough.
Well, here we go, gentlemen. It's going to be fantastic to hear from you guys as we get into our round number 4. You can see the bus is ready, so let's get into this one.
Let's do this. Match number 4 is underway, and we're already hopping in with Jamsai. That's one of the players that I was talking about here. He was so strong in those first 2 games.
You know what's funny? They go Paradise every single time, starting from the skirmishes. I remember competing against them in Paradise. I was like, you know what? Nah, not really. They're super aggressive. I don't want to jump there. I don't want to have that early contest with them. They're really pushy when it comes to the early game. They're bullying everyone who lands there.
I talked to a lot of players who were kind of interested in dropping Paradise or Palms, and they all decided, hey, there's actually way too many players going here, but actually we're only seeing 2 or 3 teams now, maybe 4, possibly, but already picking up the hunting rifle, landing on that guaranteed weapon.
Infantry to pick up and already shooting with it, right? But that's a great strategy against Storm Surge. Even if you're not going to knock anyone down there, you get the early game damage, so you don't have to worry about the Storm Surge.
Yeah, and before this game, I was mentioning exactly how much Storm Surge is affecting all these players. We're seeing it tick more than ever.
Pomit already died to history!
Oh, no.
Hello.
We were looking for Poverty and Zeke. They were playing so well as well. They got a few eliminations in a very sticky situation on Viking Hill the other day. And then Coffee and Beehive as well. They're in the top 5, kind of landing here in Pleasant. There's only 1 team contesting here, but here's Cloud and Myth on to Max Salabri and Katowice. This is one of the teams that was dropping tilted against Nick Merckx, Aiden, Faxfox, and all those players. So we'll see how this engagement goes. This is probably unfamiliar territory here for Cloud and Myth as they try to hunt down where these players are going. And there goes Cloud. Some compact SMG spray right to start off.
Get it, Cloud.
Cloud with the good inventory right now. Blue Pump and Infantry can be used as a interchangeable weapons. Nice at 82 damage going down.
That's exactly what you need. You need those first shots going into an engagement like this, because then you're going to be able to push
Man, I really
take
want to see
exactly the
good.
position you want.
That's the confidence boost you need in those early game engagements, but those trees are getting in the
becoming
way,
one
a
of my
lot of
favorite
cover.
players.
All right, we'll see if Myth
Cloud, I've
pushes
never
with
seen
Cloud.
Cloud
He
play.
is.
Okay, here we go. Myth going up. Actually, Max Salabri already has a little bit of high ground there. He's trying to get those clingers, but it's not going to work. Cloud is going to take him out, so it's just now on to Katowice. He's actually all the way away. Not sure where he's going. They were not together at all. They kind of got split, and that's really good, Lothar. Exactly what Cloud and Myth need to do.
By the way, that clinger, did it hit him?
Nope.
Like his own one? But it was very close. Now, next fight between Hupek and Skix.
It's 2 1v1s here. Hupek on to 07 and Lil J on to Skix. They actually have Lil J pinched. If they realize this, Hupek can take great advantage of it. But no, 07 is going to keep Hupek occupied, and he dies. He goes down right there.
Super low HP on Hupek was really looking hard for him. But now the Skix, will he redeem it?
All alone. He needs to find at least Lil J right now. If he can find him, that's going to be the exact
Man,
time
he's
he needs.
getting
There
so
he goes. He
many
gets the knock.
hit
He's going to be able
markers.
to finish him. But here comes 07. He's coming through with that silence. He does get the finish, but that tactical shotgun doing so much work right now. Skix,
He's
just
not
one
doing
more
any work.
shot he needs
That
to
thing
get
is
on there.
garbage.
And now
He's hitting for
over
20.
towards this new area here. Include is actually down, or no, Mirana already down. Include trying to pick him up. Seth has just a few seconds to get it. They do get the pickup, and he's going to be able to block him off. Nice play there. Seth all alone onto these two players.
No builds available as well. He was trying to finish off the duo because he knew he has the advantage, but without any builds possible, he couldn't push the high ground.
Yeah.
Now we're switching back to Paradise between Virtus Pro
He's over
And
here.
and the
Brazilian.
Brazilians.
And so we talked about how quickly the engagements happened in Paradise. Immediately grabbing that infantry rifle. We saw Zeke and Poverty go down already, the Brazilians. Now it's all up to the VP team here. Jamside and SSK7 finding a low ground position. Oh, he's actually so close right here. History can find some shots, but no, SSK7 covers him from the back.
The damage pretty low, still at over 100 HP, but those great tacticals might be doing a lot of work right now.
They're all
That
over the
blue
map.
check right now is
Everybody's
really,
got one.
really
And now
deadly.
on to Tilted. Aim Hero and Fax Fox pushing on to Aiden. Nick Merckx down below as well.
Aim Hero with the massive build over the entire Tilted. Stink Bombs doing massive work as well, zoning out the opponents, giving the information. It's like a wall hack.
That indeed it is. You're
Nick's
able to
looking
get
for
those
that
ticks and
snipe
find
shot.
exactly where he is, but I don't think we did tick onto Aiden. Nick Merckx just staying right down there. I believe he might have a sniper rifle, trying to hit one nice cheeky little shot.
He also, Aim Hero here has a launch pad just to have a backup plan if everything goes badly. Now,
Aiden is such an unfortunate position here. Nick Merckx needs to try to join him there. He is going to be able to do it, and they're going to fall back into the building. This is exactly what they always do. Unfortunately, this building is kind of small, so they're in a rough position. They need to try to back up.
look at Prism though, getting that flank from the east. They're going on the hill. They have a really good angle towards the Koreans.
Aim Hero actually realizes that. You can see he's already looking towards it. He's aware. He knows. He signals to his teammate Fax Fox to disengage here, go down as Nick Merckx and them as well. Actually, Vivid and Poach on the Beehive and Cafe here in Pleasant Park. And this is going to be a nice fight here. They need to kind of finish this off if they want the loot from Pleasant Park. It's not really enough for two duos. Here comes Cafe. Just get the nice shot. That is Vivid onto Cafe. And this is a nice play here and a very important one as well. Poach takes out Cafe. Now, all to find just Beehive. Let's see if they can survive here. Not sure where they do finish that elim. There,
So
nice
there
shot.
it is, nicely.
Man,
That's all about opening up the
I have a
sidewalls
feeling
and
Biz is gonna
everything
do
there.
some work today, though.
Lothar.
We
They had
actually did
so
talk
many
about-
angles.
That is true. We actually did talk about Pleasant Park specifically, but we don't have time.
There's
There's so many
so
early
much
game
action.
engagements in the beginning. Now Ghost, Bizzle, and DMO are getting against Valiant and Windwalker, the Finns.
Over towards the
Bizzle,
middle of the
DMO,
map between
they're
Retail
probably
and
gonna
Salty
win
here.
this again.
Right around Divot.
Bizzle's such a
And this
god.
is going to be center zone from the looks of it.
They're replacing the entire hut, which is a great strategy. If they're in the middle of the circle, they can just wait it out. Depends on the inventory, of course. The context is
Windwalker
important.
disengage.
If you have a lot of mats, but you can still have an entire building to replace, you can get, let's say, a saving account when it comes to your mats that you can just then use for rotations.
There they are, Tyovsky and Nero onto Skite and Vato. They're trying to chase them down. I'm not sure whether they're in zone. We'll see in a second here. And they're also getting engaged from the side. Maybe that's Vato. Yes, it is. They're very split here, and they're trying to get towards zone.
Let's Stream team is one of the most aggressive duos here in the lobby, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually go for Nero and Tajovsky. But Nero, no, that's Tajovsky with the heavy sniper can make a great opening. If he hits someone for 150, that's not a knock. It's just like a message. We should go anywhere.
Yeah,
We should be aggressive.
We just saw Bizzle and Demo onto Vialanen and Windwalker. They were backing up. They were chasing them down actually already. There was so much action here, Lothar. Just all over the place. Camo Nissa just cleaning up the fight here. And now, I was talking about this. Bizzle and Demo kind of chasing them down and then letting them disengage. How do you balance, Lothar, the positioning versus getting those eliminations if you can? They got early tags, but they decided, hey, I want to back off. How do you balance that?
I think that depends mainly on your drop location. If you know that there are people who can be close or rotating already in the 2-minute mark, you might not be pushing so much, especially on the high ground. You might be looking forward to just be low ground, taking those angles, and get the chip damage in. But at the same time, if you know that your position is pretty safe and you can just get into that engagement early game, you will push. But now we're switching back to Tilted Towers. Look at the amount of teams that we have in Tilted right now.
We're going to see a replay here. Cloud onto... This is the engagement early in Lonely Lodge. And Cloud and Myth cleaning up Maxaliber. Killless got away. See, no, they didn't end up. Here's Sunny Steps. A nice shot from Seth. But no, the unique team taking him down. They win Sunny sets here.
He was in a really bad spot, no builds, couldn't block any shots, couldn't like just defend himself basically.
And we saw that clutch from Skix as well. Now back into tilted Zexero and Vinny. One of our leaders. There's Bowman and Alpha. Fax Fox name here. There, it's split between 4 different duos here. And you can see Aiden and Nick Merckx, the veterans here, actually taking the garage, which is something you don't normally see from them. They tend to take a better building than just the garage. Maybe like the basketball court or something like that.
Makes sense. There's a lot of mats that can replace. All depends if they have the inventory full or not. Where they're pushed outside by someone, they have to take this one, but you can see them replacing.
Yeah.
And
That's the
this
best
might
spot.
indicate
They can get full match
want
right
to
there.
just
They
camp
get
it out,
everything except
see the
metal.
next zone because it's pretty close, right?
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
full
can just
brick, full
turtle
wood.
it up and expand.
And Mitro and Kuna as well doing exactly the same thing.
Man,
But
they
they
built a
are
big old
in that
base for
zone.
no
They're
reason.
centered. Look at that loadout. He already has that
Crazy.
legendary RPG. That's going to be so strong going into the end game.
Even with like 2 rockets, it's worth the slot.
Right.
It guarantees you a retake on the high ground, which is something like, you know what's funny? We
wasted so
don't
many
see
mats
grenades
on that
anymore because they
build.
got vaulted and we have
They might not
clingers
even
instead.
keep-
But you
it's not
can
even
use
in-game.
clingers the same way we were using rocket launchers before. They
Right.
can just be a high ground retake utility item that has faster fire rate than the rocket launcher itself.
Exactly. You can target the clingers perfectly to take out high ground exactly on each little individual build.
And with the new ping system, you can even indicate to teammate where exactly you're pointing at.
That new ping system, definitely a very valuable tool in duos right now. And Tyovsky and Nero actually going down to another one of the Lestream teams. Not the ones they were chasing down, but actually the Vic and Blacks.
You know what? Blacks, you got a double kill with a trap and a shotgun. We can see, post factum what happened here. There's a lot of loot, there's a lot of clingers. Look at this, 10 clingers in his inventory and still some lying around on the ground. So
That's another thing with the clingers. You can just take so many. And here's Zexero and Vinny. They're trying to get a few tags. Look how slow. Look how not that far above the zone, the storm surge threshold. They are only 18 above. So they're trying to get all the tags they can. And that's what we're talking about. People are starting to adjust to how it's actually working out in duos. They definitely need to be above that storm surge.
another fight. This is
Yeah, I
salty.
definitely don't think Mitch
Is
is
it?
still alive.
Yes, it is.
Salty.
So many
Yeah,
buildings
Mitch is
replaced, man.
yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't even look like it at all. And actually, Kuna and Mitro, one of the things, that building is so strong because it does provide the brick. Not every single house around in each of the towns in Pleasant, in Retail, and here in Salty do provide brick. And that's one of the more valuable resources because you can find wood anywhere.
That is correct. The damage threshold on the Storm Surge for them was actually quite okay, plus 63, which is fine. Now we have seen
Oh,
72
Chapman,
hours
72 hours still alive?
in the Storm with Chap
So
fighting.
low HP right now. He needs to try to get out of zone. That's going to be, they're going to keep him in there, but he's actually going back in. He's trying to let his teammate Chap. He's trying to buy some space for him, but he's so low HP. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. I think he just barely has enough HP as long as he doesn't get tagged at all.
But he's staying in the zone. That's so tough. He's like, what, 5 HP?
It's not what you want if you're 72 hours. This team, Isma and Lolito, he does go down to zone. Chap has to save. It's all on to Chap right now.
Chap has to clutch it, then get the
Took the
revive.
vent
But
and left.
Yeah.
That's the
He
decision.
abandoned 72 hours, man. I mean, that's a tough decision that sometimes you have to get, to choose from.
Yep.
And, well, it's worth it. You need to play for placement. The point system rewards consistency.
Exactly. Rewarding consistency, and 72 hours in Trap have been somewhat consistent. They're not having the big
Phase
games that
Nate
they need
still
for
in.
the point,
I think that's
all the
Nate
points
Hill.
they have, but they are not too far. But actually, Funkbomb
I
and
can't
Nate taking
appreciate it,
Storm
yeah.
Tick damage right now. That Storm Surge being it's doing so much to these players. And now
Ooh.
Nate actually making a little bit of a mistake there because of the Storm Surge, but he only has 2 more ticks.
He has the Storm Surge on him. That's 25 damage every, 5 seconds or something like that. So it's gonna be pressuring them.
He's
They
gonna
need
go
to
down
get
here.
those damage.
That's unfortunate.
right now.
Hunter and Kinstar realize exactly what's going on. They say, okay, we're not that far above
Well,
the
buddy?
threshold, but we realize you're getting ticked and we're not.
Oh,
So
yeah?
they're just backed up and bought all the time they need in here. They're going to actually take their box.
Good strategy. Good strategy. They have the sound cues. They have the visual cues as well for the Storm Surge. But now, FaZe is left with 1 player, so the Storm Surge is done. And now he can be more passive.
Right. When the Storm Surge does end up taking you out, you don't get knocked. You just get out, eliminated from the game. And their jam side actually taking out Myth and Cloud in
Unfortunate.
quick succession.
What is this?
And it's still
Storm
so far
Surge?
away from the points. 4 placements. We have 38 teams. The first teams that get placement points are 25th.
Right. And so actually, Funkbomb, this is exactly what he needed. Getting that supply drop. We'll see if he gets some some health, some heals, some mobility, all the stuff that he needs to get into the end game. And actually, who's this on top of the hill? It's Dementos and Flexi. They're using the cannons onto Animal.
That's a very big meta change, by the way. This hill was always good, right? But now, with the pirate outpost that we have it actually makes so much sense to camp it out.
It really
There's
does.
like 5 players already when it's being built. You can build over it, and now you have rotational item as well being just in the cannon that you can shoot.
I really like there that strat that he's opening the edit every time he takes a shot, and that's really nice, making it minimizing the chances that he's going to take any damage. You can see here we go. Oh, he's going to launch himself.
Fish sticks in the cannon.
And now he needs to go himself. We'll see if he's going to be able to. He actually has 2 Ripticos as well, so there's mobility.
Oh no! Oh my! What happened?
Unfortunately, he hit the ceiling, so it kind of blocked him, and now his teammate's all alone. So this is the thing, using the cannons. Maybe the strategy is to take 2 cannons instead, so that you can launch at the same time. Because again, it's not as accurate as doing a launch pad or anything like that. You can't choose where you're going to go. You just have to aim
That
perfectly.
storm surge is
And
retarded.
then you just fly and pray.
Exactly. One of the things I was worried about there with the cannon was it's a tool, just like any other explosive, to force engagements on people. Animal there, right above Boyer and Kripa, could have done that, but there's Skite and Vato. We saw them earlier. They're kind of alone in a box, and that's a little risky on the edge of zone. When they're all the only people on the side of zone, guess what? They're a target.
Yeah. And now, good hits on the gliding player, but it's still like they're in a good position right now.
Yeah, actually, Saf takes out Skite. They landed right next to Zayt and Saf. And we'll see if he's going to be able to take out Vato as well. Yes, he does go down. So 2 elims for Zayt and Saf. That was risky for them. They're going to go ahead
Nick
and use
Merch
that
died.
launch pad as well, the Vic and Blacks.
Aiden's by himself.
I think it's a good decision, even though you take some damage from the storm. You guarantee you're gonna rotate to the next zone, so they can just play right now a little bit more passive. But at the same time, if someone sees that and destroy the launch pad,
Yeah.
might be rough.
There's Item and Tomo Bizzle as well. I don't see Demo, but Item and Tomo doing very well. Item placing, I think he placed 10th yesterday in the solos. Tomo played very well as well, so we're going to keep that eye on them. They're also high up in the standings currently.
Great strategy to sit on your floor underneath a pyramid, because that allows you to have really good vision, but at the same time, you have great opportunity to be just super quick on your shotgun blast.
Right.
Ooh.
Indeed, you can just pull that
That's
edit
ping.
at a moment's notice and take the shots. You see a lot of players taking advantage of that right now, but the Diamond actually going to blow up his own structure. That's unfortunate for him.
Unlucky. And yeah. Oh no, that bandit got interrupted.
Oh no. So regardless, here, Issa and Camo have a great position. They've been in this house for a majority of the game right now. We saw them get eliminations early in Salty, and then they've been here ever since. Look at the structure, Lothar. All the way up. They get, look how far he's editing up. He's been editing up for a few minutes now, it feels like.
Yeah, well, you know, they had a lot of savings, as I said, in the bank
Talked
account.
about it. Recycling those
Damage
materials.
enemies to avoid
That's
elimination.
exactly what you can do. Somebody can stay down below farm while the other player stays up and hides or and spots and make sure nobody pushes you.
Yeah, and this is the Storm 5. And we still have above 50 players in the lobby. The Storm Surge will do work for some people. Now we have to pay the close attention who will be the target, because he will start being the aggressor.
That's correct. Here, Kinstar and Hunter, they have that legendary RPG as well, the Rift to go. They're going to be in a good shape.
Fantastic inventory. Epic, heavy AR, good shotgun, still the Rift to go. They're really looking to be in a great position right now. But Animal is being tagged by these stink bombs.
You can't escape Kripa and Boyer. And now Vilix and Kinzel also joining in on the fun. He's just going to make a mess for Animal. Let's see what he can do. Here's Issa and Camo again. These controller players, they're playing so well. They're one of the only EU teams in the top 10 right now. Well, no, actually, that's false. In the top 5, sorry. EU is just on the edge of the top 5. They're all ready to pounce. Just in striking distance. We talked about being in striking distance yesterday.
You just triggered the chat.
I did, yeah. Absolutely.
It's not gonna end. Razu just finished Shinken. They did so well in the previous game.
Shinking and Stompy up as well. You can see them in the background. Kinstar and Hunter as well. Vinny and Zexo still up. Nikov
Stompy
and
still
Airwax.
alive.
This is one of the teams that we're looking out for. A lot of the players who are
Aiden
playing
still
very,
alive?
very well in practice.
Aiden?
Look at all that loot.
That loot is free real estate.
I think that's Razaru's spoils if he wants to go for it. No,
Well,
Skix is going to get it.
Pick it up. You know what's interesting? This
Tomo
my.
grabbing
Okay.
Blacks there. That's
Never
a nice
mind.
pickup.
wanted to say something about the zone, but those shots connected so well. Crippa with the finish on the Byakuya
so many
from last
people
stream.
still.
Now this zone is actually pretty
2019.
cool for the players because it's flat land,
Yeah.
so we will not have like a lot of challenges when it comes to the vertical positioning.
Look at all the players right now on the mini-map, just getting into zone, getting into that half-in, half-out zone. We're at 48 players remaining, 29 teams up, so 5 more need to go down in order for the points to, or sorry, 4 more. And they're all already getting in the zone, rotating early. That's so good for everybody, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing so many players in these end games now.
So much lag.
And Svenos is using his grenade launcher. I think this is the best timing.
Oh,
to get
Issa
those
went down.
Grenade launcher is using it right now. Tomo an item. I think dead in the middle. Great position. No, what just happened
I
there?
don't know.
I
Three players.
think that was Svenos' grenade launcher that
Yeah.
just destroyed like 3 people.
Just knocked it all down. We saw the big structure that they had early, Issa and Camo, and now the first moving zone is revealed. There it is in the bottom right.
45 people alive.
Oh, y'all need to make
This
a
is gonna
rotate
be-
for that zone.
He's looking for it. He wants it. No, he's actually baiting it. He's going to try to take some shots on the motor now, but no, he has to block his black. I can't speak, but it's okay. Here it goes.
It's all good, but that window was actually very frightening to open since there were so many people that could have looked at him. But now, Vilix with that nice,
He just
Nice
snuck up
spray.
on them with the silence SMG. He takes down Safta.
because
No
it's
shield.
silence, he was able to sneak up on them.
Sneaky player there, but again, Zayden Saf on high ground. This is what we always see. And remember, they have the to goes. We saw had 2 earlier and a launch pad, so they're in such a good position.
Oh,
They're
you can straight jump down on that launch pad.
Everybody hit
so
that
many
launch
players
pad.
flying right now. Everybody using the mobility. Everybody using it because it's just going over flat ground. It's not too much, but there's Mitro and Kuna taking high ground of their own.
Man, they're getting feasted
See,
on.
Ryux and
Everyone
Marky,
in that
see if
launch
they're going to
pad.
be able to get over towards...
all focused.
No, they're going to...
Stompy's still alive. They
Ryux,
won
much
last
damage.
game.
They didn't take lethal damage there.
And that's something we've seen a lot of players who take a high ground a little too
Really
early, but
still
there
alive.
again, he gets knocked down. Not too much damage again,
I
but
don't see
Mitro and
anyone
Kuna
from like
are
US.
starting to
I think
connect.
Aiden got
Mitro
knocked
has
out.
the rocket launcher and the dynamite. He will be able to control the high ground so well with it, but he
Ooh.
just lost it.
But here we go. He has the RPG. He can still... Kuna is fighting. No, he's going to say, Kuna, please get down. I don't want to fight them. They're just too aggressive on this build fight here.
Provoked and tugs on the highest
Moving
possible high
circle,
ground. I don't know
everyone
what's
is
their
still
inventory, but they can
wild.
control it as well now.
Zayton Saf still up. Zexro Vinny still up. I see as well. Mitro and Kuna, we already talked about them. Bizzle's up. Nikov and Airwax up. Tomo item as well. There's so many good
That's
players
still
up
alive.
still. And this is what we talk about. All these players always get into these end games. Here goes Tux. They're going down a little bit.
They have a launch pad still. They're not using it yet.
Just joining up with Mitro and Kuna right now. There's still so many players here. We're watching everything rotate.
Jesus
Now all the
Christ.
builds go through. Everybody's with the tunnels here.
What a great view. Honestly, this looks
Jesus
fantastic.
Christ.
Nikov just got knocked by a rocket launcher, got the damage from it, but still alive. Now Mitro reloading that rocket launcher, getting that.
This is it. This is the
That's the
moment. They need
rocket.
to try to push for Hark. No, they're not going to do it. They're just going to knock him down. They have another opportunity later. Remember, he has one more rocket at least. And there, all the explosives down
Bizzle's
the mid
still
ground.
alive.
This is gonna be
Oh,
really
Bizzle
risky
got
now
knocked
for
out.
Provoke and Tux up on high ground.
A lot of players being eliminated right now. All those explosives are paying off for being held in the inventory for the late game. Provoked still on the high ground with Tux together.
There's
Nice synergy. They have really good position to have a free shooting range.
Yeah, and Saf and Zay are still up right now. They use both of their rifts, right? But this is just chaos down on low ground. It's actually going to go
Yeah,
quite
Saf
up
and
on
Zay
high
are
ground. Vinny
still-
here trying to take this last Elam, but he has no mat, so he's going to be in trouble going over this. If he needs to get an elimination, no, he goes
Oh,
down.
He
Vinny.
whips this shot.
Tux and Provoked still on high ground, but guess who's there? Zay and Saf again, but Zay gets knocked down.
Zaf
9 players remaining.
has the chance.
This is it.
Jack
High
is
ground
out.
is so key here. Provoked and Tux just taking all the shots they can. They're getting right to it. Zate's still up. It's also the VP player, S7 SSK7, against Provoked and Tux. So
Oh, yeah,
it's a
Zate's still alive,
2v1v1.
so Saf can
It's going
stick it
down
in
to the
there.
wire here.
He found the time to reload. That heavy sniper might be crucial to replace a wall.
There.
There's another kill. SSK
There
on
goes
Zate.
Zate.
It's all up to SSK7 to stop Provoked and Tux here. They're on a tear. They have 4 Elims to their name. They're looking for the last one. SSK7, we'll see what he's able to do. Does not have his teammate, so he's got to clutch up big. Here goes Provoked from 2 sides. He does
Nice
get the
shot.
shot, and he's going to finish it here. Yes!
Oh, my.
Tux gets him. The nice pinch there, Lothar. That's exactly what you want to do in those endgame situations.
Man, that
Look.
was a good one.
Oh, the
They
clutch.
took high ground,
were,
they controlled high
that's
ground, and they won.
To do well in that end game, they regained the high ground from the opponents. They were just sitting there comfortably, but also controlling the entire vision so well.
That's exactly the type of endgame we love to see. We saw Satan Sack pull one of those off as well when they ended up high ground, high ground, high ground, getting a few elims, letting the players down below fight, and then ending up pinching down below. That was perfect from them. That was absolutely beautiful.
Well done, well done. And you can see how players are required to play smart because they're not getting the inventory mats for kills.
And
Sorry, for elims, of course.
And there you can see Tux and Provoke. Provoked on the left, Tux on the right. They're so happy discussing that game. He's talking about what went right. And everything went right.
I think it couldn't
Boy,
have
they
gone better.
killed
for them.
it.
To be honest with you, you just felt
They
like
kept
as
that
soon
high
as that
ground.
end zone sort of closed in, they just seemed to be in the best position. They had that high ground. And again, we're seeing that patience. And we're seeing that teamwork coming in, that synergy in those last moments. And Lothar, I wanted to ask you about that because, you know, it's decision-making is such a huge part of any competitive title. But in those clutch moments, especially in Battle Royale, in Fortnite, you have so many decisions to make in game. You have 100 players, 50 duos. You have to make so many decisions that when it gets down to that final one in the end game where you've got that victory royale on the line, that puts even more pressure on those decisions.
It puts more pressure. You know what's funny? When you're in the end game, you have like 3 people left, or it's just like 2 versus 1. I feel like in that moment, you feel less pressure than it's when it's 30 people just moving in the end zone because it requires so much quick thinking while you can relax when you're 2 versus 1.
And I saw in their play confidence. You saw how they took high ground, and they just continuously looked around, looked for shots, looked for exposing themselves really on the shots as well. And that's the confidence that you need to win those endgame situations on set.
And again, good placement coming in from Saf and Zay. They seem to just always be in those end games at the moment. But talking about those guys, should actually hear from our winners of the last game. It's Tux and Provoked.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm with Tux and Provoked here, our Game 4 winners, in the words of Baller. Let's go, baby! Guys, how you feeling? Amazing victory, that one.
Yeah, I mean, it feels absolutely amazing trying to like get a win in a big tournament. Double heavy sniper OP, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, it was all about the high ground for you guys there as well. How much of an advantage did that give you in that final endgame?
It gives us such a big advantage. High ground is definitely the best at the moment in this meta. And we won because of height. And we risked everything for the height, but we actually managed to take it, so that won us the game.
I mean, where are your heads at as well in terms of coming into these games? Are you playing for position? Are you playing for limbs? How are you guys playing it strategically?
I mean, we switched up a little bit this game. We didn't have a great first 3 games. Few bugs, few misplays on our part, but we literally went now back, had a little reset, washed our hands with the whole situation, came back in here, hyped us out, and yeah, we popped off.
When you guys as well come into this competition against these kind of other players around you as well, is there anyone in particular you're kind of looking out for? Already you kind of see them kind of rising above the rest in the pack and stuff? Or are you kind of like, it's all still fair game, there's loads and loads of rounds to go?
Right now, it's Vinny and Zexro. As they're on top, probably, still. It's definitely the people we need to look out for most.
Well, listen, best of luck with the competition. You're one step closer to these things as well. Keep on going, guys. Big round of applause for our Game 5 winners, Tux and Provoked. Guys, well done, well done. I cannot believe that we're already over halfway through day 1 of our duos. It's been incredible so far. Can't wait to see what happens next going into the next game. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you very much, Adam. And something that really jumped out for me there is that mental reset that they needed. They said, Lothar, things didn't quite go their way in those first 3 games, but just took a few moments to step away, have a little talk about things, and then they come out with a victory royale.
That's the luxury of having 14 games in a tournament, right? You can rebound from the first 3 games. And by the way, I talked about Cloud being 16, right? Provoked is 16 as well. This is his first big land. This is one of his first tournaments ever. And look how confident he is, right? That's a great mindset to have.
Oh, phenomenal stuff from someone so young to come out with that kind of confidence and perform on this level as well. And, you know, I want to ask you, Baller, like, confidence is a huge thing in any competitive video game. They can really bounce from now. Do you think that they're just going to be sitting there right now going, we want to get into this next game? We've had our mental reset. We've got that win. Let's back into the lobby.
I don't know. Maybe the mental reset is what they need every single game. That's kind of the attitude of a lot of these players, right? Just take it 1 game at a time. And remember, it's all still up in the air. Everything is still up in the air. It doesn't matter who's in the top right now. All that matters is the marathon. Everybody's been saying, I think 2 people already said it on the interviews. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So wash your hands of every single game. Every single game is going to be different. And you got to take it 1 game at a time.
1 game at a time is what all these players are going to be doing. Gentlemen, fantastic stuff as always. We are over halfway through our first day of duos action right now. We're going to go for another break. When we get back, we've got round number 5.
And they kept high ground. They controlled high ground. They destroyed everybody. They didn't even get, well, they got contested once or twice for high ground, but they just monstered over everybody to keep it. That was a badass game by them.
Thinks you can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Why are you watching me when this could be you? This is so you.
Classic you. And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you! PS4 for the players!
On March 8th.
Rough day, Agent Fury.
You know, typical 9 to 5. Witness the rise.
Everybody in here drop that like, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. Captain Marvel with a PG-13.
That would help tremendously.
Metro, nothing else. So let your
I really want to try this game. Metro looks so dope.
We are the government you people deserve. So you do understand. There is no other way.
It's not just Russia out there. It's the whole world.
Welcome to my store. It's one not bound by walls or limited by inventory or restricted by time. The only rule here is to untether your imagination and unleash it on the world. You won't believe what's in store.
PlayStation.
See who got the lead now. Both Staff and State are in the lead. Dextro, Myth got dropped down. Myth and Cloud are now 8th. Damn, Nick and Aiden are way back there. So is Bizzle, which I'm surprised. Cat 72 hours, Liquid Poach. Aiden to 38. Funk Bombs and man, we're getting stomped. It's like the Olympics of the game community. Ooh. That was unfortunate. So we're going into round 5? I want to see Bizzle do well. I want to see Myth do well.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once more to the ESL Katowice Royale, and we are getting very much down to business time now on our duos competition. 4 rounds gone. We've got 3 rounds to come today as well. But before we get into our next round, we had a little bit of fun with the players once more. We had to find out how they get those names. How'd you get Myth? How'd you get it? We'll find out.
In some Oriental language, his nickname means poop.
Yes. But it was just because...
It was an accident.
Yeah.
Somebody told him, and he's like,
Interesting. Well, it's not really interesting, but Twitch cleared a lot of names, so I was just testing a lot of random words, and DI worked, so I was like, yeah, sure. I'll take it.
My nickname's, well, Aiden is just my name. I just go by my first name, so pretty basic. But besides that, as simple as that. No backstory to that.
Yeah, my name used to be Bizzle, and eventually when I joined a team, I just cut it down to Bizzle. Pretty simple, but I like it.
Well, not really. I used to play a lot of Xbox, and I just wanted to make my name like match my clan's name. So I put like my clan name and then Myth, and I was like, this sounds right. And then I just stuck with Myth from then, and I went from like other names that had Myth in it And I was just like, you know, I just really like people just end up calling me Myth anyways. So I was like, I'll just make my name Myth.
My name used to be Nikaru, but it got banned on Twitch for some reason. So I had to change my name, and I just looked up cool name that starts with A, and Aspect came up, and that's been my name since probably like 7-8 months.
Yours is interesting.
Yeah, mine's my last name. In fact, ESL thinks that's my in-game name, so all my stuff's just my last name right now.
So it's just the first letter of my first name, 2 letters of my last name put together, and created Demo, so just kind of stuck with it.
I think I got my name from like a random name generator website.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what the heck? It's a good name to get from a random name generator.
Such a variety of ways to come up with a game attack, right? It's like, yeah, random name generator. We had shortening of letters. How do you come up with baller?
I played basketball.
All right, okay.
So I was the young baller, and then I'm now the old baller, so I just cut that off.
Okay, fair enough.
He's just a baller.
He's just absolute. That's what I was going
Whoa.
to say. I was hoping you'd go baller, man. Come on, like, is it not obvious by now? Fantastic stuff. Great to hear from the players once more. But we also want to hear from you guys at home again. So keep using that hashtag ESL Katowice Royale. Keep sending your questions in for the guys on the desk. And again, send us the pictures of where you're watching. We want to see where you guys are watching the Katowice Royale and how you're enjoying the action. And good news, gentlemen. I believe that we actually have some social media questions for you.
Do we?
This is my favorite thing because I
You know
love
what?
seeing your guys' faces drop every time they come up. Right, let's have a look. Opinion on our Polish players. Kind of underperforming at home? Question mark.
I don't know. Tajowski and Nero. He's the Polish player. He knows more about the scene. But Tajowski and Nero are not underperforming to me right now. They're overperforming, really, in comparison to their performances last weekend.
That is definitely true, especially Tajowski. He's kind of redeeming himself, especially in the, I think, game 2, when he was clutching in the end game, got like 4 kills or something like that. The crowd was going wild about it. And I feel like they still have a lot of space to improve on. They're landing on the new location next to Lazy Lagoon, so there's still a lot to learn when it comes to positioning and so on. I'm hoping they're going to do well in general.
Okay, well, we've got another one coming in for you, gents. They're coming in thick and fast at the moment, so let's take a look at the next one. Who are your top 3 dark horse duos to win this tournament? That's an interesting one.
I'm going to start. I'm looking forward to history. He actually finished, I think, top 9 in the solos. The Brazilian team might show up like really big, you know, in the duos as well.
And very, very quickly, Baller, who's your underdogs? Who's going to perform? Because look what's happening in the background. The game's about to get underway. So quick, who's underperforming? Who do you think is going to be the secret duo? Comes out of nowhere.
Stompy and Shinken.
There you go, that's enough. Anyway, round 5 is about to get underway. I'm cutting you off. You gave me your answer. Let's get into this one, gentlemen. I'm excited for this. We've only got a few rounds to go.
Let's go, Lothar. We're so excited here going to round number 5, and it's actually Tomo and Item we're going to start with because they are doing so well, Lothar. They're up in the standings.
They're going up, and they have a great position to actually getting, like, you know, the initial damage against Stormsurge. Look at this. If we would have had an AR, probably would have started shooting at people just flying over to Pleasant Park. Now we're back to VP. By the way, they jumped from position 8 to position 3. Right now, after the previous game, 2 consistent finishes for them back-to-back.
3rd place right now. That's really nice to see. And one of the strong things about it is because they are winning Paradise. You get so much loot here. It's such a strong position. That's why everybody, we talked about it last time, that's why everybody wants to come here. But now,
jumping to
the same fight we saw the other day, or earlier, Lil J versus 07. They're getting the advantage, taking out Hoopek first, and it's just Skix now. But he does get the first win, and I think this is actually going to go in the advantage of the Chinese team here. Last time it went, I think it was Skix who clutched up against both of them.
To be honest, Hoopek and Skix not really performing well so far.
We just had that question.
They have to switch it up. You know, it's just not working out. Lucky landing is not lucky landing for them. But let's talk about this zone.
Yeah,
this is a south zone, which is also like getting a little bit of the water. So it's getting the people closer to each other. But now we're at Frosty Flights, where we have Stumpy and Shinken, the duo that you wanted to see perform well.
Yeah.
And they're against Ryux and his teammate Mark.
Don't.
Never mind. Well,
what just happened?
What just happened here? I think he got shot down like he was just standing on the one wall.
Okay. Regardless, Shinken and Stompy here in Frosty Flights. This is one of those spots that has so much loot. I don't think they realize that Marky is down. So Ryux is going to try to sneak around. They're all in the house. We'll see if Shinken does get up on the high ground. That's one of the tactics in duos. Kind of just grab a piece of high ground and then you're able to spot everything. But no, they don't know he's there. So Marky Locuras is going to get picked up, and they're going to have a chance here against Stompy and Shinken.
He still has 1 mini to give to his friend. Oh, actually, he's at the
Fall
100
damage.
armor.
Fall
Okay.
damage it was off of the side of that iceberg there.
Yeah, the shield is still there. They can still take the fight, but now Stompy with a great
Oh, he needs that
loadout,
med
a
kit up
blue
on top.
shoddy, and an AR, and also the disco bombs. Very underrated item, especially early game.
And so we'll see whether they decide to engage. This is actually, I think Heretics, the team here, has the bigger loot pile. So actually, they might have the advantage in terms of loot. We'll see, though. Shinken and Stompy had much more time since they were actually picking up his teammate.
He's trying to find the 10 seconds to pop off the medkit so he can get back the 70 HP that he lost after the fall damage. But now Shinken with the clinger's gonna interrupt it. And no, he actually got it off.
Nice play there, Marky. Gets it off. One of the things, though, they have had no time to farm. And look at the materials for Shinken. They're in such a good advantage here against these players here, the Heretics guys. And actually, now he's going to try to push, but again, he's running out of materials. He only has
That's 5 materials right now. Oh, it was in the clinger.
It hits him. No, it just extra damage there from the shots after it exploded. And Stompy and Shinken, that's their time to strike. They're going to say, let's go. We got clingers. We got the disco.
They have an advantage. He just shot
headshot.
his head for 65. He's pushing. Stompy with those.
Just barely misses Marky as he backs up again, but there he's
Oh,
going to
there
take
he
a
goes.
react. What was those shots, Lothar? And again onto Marky as well. And
got
Stompy
him.
saves the day.
Stompy put in some
and
work.
gains 100 HP at the same time, goes from 55 to 155. Great play by him. He didn't get intimidated after he got lasered in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and so here we have Poverty and Zeke against our third place team. The VP guys, Jam Side and SSK7. And the positioning here, Poverty and Zeke are going to be able to rotate off over towards those risks. But now Nikov and Airwax, again against the Japanese guys. It's Rizard and Llama trying to push onto them. They're not going to be able to manage it. Nikov is going to actually break that down. No, he's connected, so he's okay. Llama does go down to the bottom, though, as the dynamite starts to tick. Airwax on the natural height. That's going to be good for him. That box is going to stay put.
Rizard tries to regain the high ground, but there's a
Ooh.
fantastic
The
angle
AK
from
just failed
Nikov.
him.
But he's now getting lasered. He needs to bunker up.
Yeah, he comes up from behind, and that was such a nice play there from the Airwax and Nikov duo. Nikov got the angle as Llama tried to push up on Airwax, and now Airwax is going to rotate back over to Nikov and get the double angle onto Llama.
Llama needs to clutch it, otherwise it's looking pretty grim.
Yeah, and we actually did just see Airwax finish Rizard, so he gets the HP bonus there, and Llama is left alone. He has no chance to revive.
He has a lot of builds, but can he clutch it?
See, low
Oh, you
HP
just
as
lost the
well,
high
no
ground.
shields,
Better
and
box
here
that
comes
back up.
Airwax. They're going for the pinch now. You can see he's already trying to get that edit off, and he's actually going to edit right back on top of him. No,
Pinch
Llama's
and move.
stuck in the box, and that's just
Got
really
him.
good timing there. He didn't manage to get that turbo build off,
What can you do when a team just pinces you like that? It's 2 angles like a crab.
especially such a strong team like Nikov and Airwax.
Yeah. You can see the synergy between those 2 players.
Yeah, and here Funk Bomb and Nate against Dementos and Flexi.
Will it be a fatal fields for the opponents?
Well, so far the cornfields are definitely fatal as they clear it out with dynamite. That's a new trick that I just learned just now, that you can just use the dynamite to clear it out and make sure that nobody's hiding in there. Here's the first shots going in. Funk Bomb trying to get the hand cannon shots to start.
He also has the purple dualies, which is a fantastic item. But again, but no builds for him. He forgets about that. He's getting punished.
Getting punished there, but it's just all up to Nate now.
Oh, he got
Got
the
the
finish
He
before
got
he
the
died.
50 HP, but it wasn't good enough. So Nate comes victorious, but without his teammate.
Nate there does save it for them, but unfortunately not for Funk, so he's going to be
I don't
still
know
in
why
contention.
Funk
Here's
Bomb
Kafe
dropped
and
down.
Beehive. We saw them in Pleasant earlier.
We
They're
still had 2 of them
one
alive.
of the teams
and
that I'm
dropped
keeping an
down.
eye out on as well in the standings. I think they're in 8th or 9th place right now.
Nice sidestep from Beehive to get that high ground from below the ramp. But now Camo has still the high ground. Issa is down below, using the campfire to still heal.
Yeah, and this is such a dangerous duo to go up against, Camo and Issa. With Camo on high ground, Issa on low ground. It's actually like a little bit of a pinch in the verticality here, but Zeke and Poverty, we saw them rift away from Paradise, now chasing down Vialanen and Windwalker.
But now they're just at another fight, another fight for them.
I feel like we've always seen Vialanen and Windwalker just running away from fights, people chasing them down, but no, it's going to be Poverty. They're going to stand their ground this time, and here we go. Poverty trying to take shots. He does take a little bit of fall damage, but he's going to go right underneath, try to drop them down through the floor. And now Zeke as well up on high ground.
He wants those
Somebody
pinky
took
shots,
it.
man.
Yeah, he just took it. I'm not sure who it was, but now they're in a different situation as this fight starts to slow down a little bit, but Zeke still has it.
Yeah,
Windwalker
but
and
you just
Violinen are now
split up.
split.
They are split. I don't think they have any rifts. There's no way of just getting here without winning this fight.
And so we got the new zone. They have quite a ways till that starts moving, but they are a way away from it. So they're going to decide what the
you got his back
opportunity here
open
is.
right
What is
there.
the opportunity cost in terms of position versus getting for this fight? As Windwalker and Violinen start to turtle.
They have the ultimate low ground.
Ooh.
Oh, but he got just...
How did he get in there? That wall just went down. He gets the edit as well, and Poverty jumps down, but he's not going to finish it. And Violinen comes from the side, so he wins that. And now it's all up to Violinen onto Zeke. And he's going to...
Zeke got it. Zeke got it, but he's alone as well. No, Poppy is still alive with few HP points, so it wasn't finished.
What a clutch there by Zeke. That was so scary as he was running in there. Poverty was, he got that wall, edited it, and then all of a sudden, the team collapsed on him.
And you know what happened later? Violinen, after the knock, wanted to finish Poverty, so he shot him with the shotgun, but didn't get lethal damage, so he couldn't heal. And I think that was instrumental to his loss.
Indeed. And one thing I just saw in that player update there, Kafe and Beehive did end up going down, so I assume that's to Issa and Camo, as we did check on them earlier. And so now, Madsen and Seth rotating through that divot, such a scary place to be when you're rotating in the mid game. And guess who they have to go through? It's Skite and Vato.
Power and Joel, the second Fnatic duo here in this tournament. Not doing great so far, but you know, it's just around 5 out of 14, still a lot of opportunities. Madsen and Seth behind them, just using their builds most likely to rotate earlier on, but no, they're going in the other direction, going west.
Yeah, everybody trying to grab some distance in between each other. And as we go through Salty, remember, we saw the zone earlier, it's going down over towards Fatal, all the way south, covering Lucky Landing.
Look
That's
at that.
exactly where we are, Animal and Aspect.
Provoked and Tugs already on the high ground. They found their spot.
Finding a little bit of natural hill there. It's going to be really nice for them because nobody can build underneath them.
We still have 81 players alive. We're going into the phase 3 of the Storm.
And remember, guys, this is match 5. Actually, Aspect just took out Nate Hill. We saw him. He was a solo earlier, and Faxfox is actually flying in as well. He's by himself.
Rifle from 7 meters. What? That was unexpected.
Nate just flew in. We saw it on the screen, the tail end of it. And again, match 5 out of 7 today, but remember, we still have 7 more tomorrow, so these players are trying to make their last few marks on the day. Try to scare everybody going into the second day here, but Vivid and Poach, they actually grabbed the gas station right outside of Lucky, and that's really good for them. We talked about the brick importance earlier.
That is so important. Just having the possibility of building a cover for yourself while not losing mats and just regaining them from replacing walls is instrumental to just being, you know, in a good position in the next rotation. But here, less stream, we saw them using a quad crusher, so most likely they just flew in to that position, and now they have to, like, you know, just make the best out of this situation.
I'm pretty sure we just saw them right outside of Dusty when they were gatekeeping and they were rotating next to Fnatic. And so that quad crasher rotations, they're so strong.
And you can do the same with the cannonball, by the way.
Yes, you can. We saw it this morning, actually. I was showing the clip to everybody. You can fly with the cannon.
Very similar fashion to the quad crusher. Might be a viable strategy in the entire Season 8 so far, but now we're moving back to Paradise. Actually, not so close to Paradise, but still on the brink of the desert and the grass. Poppy and Zeke, look at another fight right now, but it's 18 HP for Zeke. He needs to use those minis, but he has no time. He's being just tangled into a fight.
And Cloud actually gets a lot of time there as Fnatic and the other players start to shoot down on Zeke and Poverty. He got some time to heal, and Myth also gets some time to get back into him. But no, we'll see here. Poverty against Myth and Cloud, and Myth is in a box. He's getting pressured. Poverty on top. Cloud as well, on the back foot as well.
But Zeke has not a lot of HP, and he is in the zone. He needs to move.
Oh, he got a good
so
shot
low Cloud is. But Myth still has a lot of HP. He can do a lot of work here. Zeke and Poverty again. We'll see what goes down, but Zeke goes down. Poverty's still up. Myth and Cloud go down, and all the players are paying attention to this outside in the zone.
Well, you know, that's
Myth got whacked.
That's one hell of a minefield. Aiden getting tagged. Nick Megs is down, already eliminated from the game. And Aiden with the 63 HP, oh no!
Yeah, and one of the things there, we saw the fight in the zone by Myth and Cloud. This is the time when people really need to start deciding, hey, do I really want to be fighting here? Can I just kind of turtle up, just get in the zone and back off? Because again, they saw everybody hungry for those elims on the edge of zone.
68 people still on the map. So
Yeah,
far
thank
away
you,
from the
guys.
Storm Surge threshold.
Yeah,
Not be
this game
triggered.
is a lot more aggressive. If we actually see the number of players up, I think we'll be surprised in terms of the amount of players. We haven't heard that Storm Surge tick once. No,
Nick Merckx
everybody
really isn't doing good
vying
this
for
tournament.
position here.
We see the stream still in the same position as they were when they landed the Red Crusher.
He's leaving
Tucks
Aiden
and
all by
provoked as well.
himself every game.
Aspect and Animal taking a little bit more of a high ground approach as they were down on low ground before when Nate did run into them.
Just wanted to give you a small bit of an info. Zippen eliminated Svenas with a rifle from 208 meters.
Wow, that's a long shot there.
I don't think he had a scope on that rifle, though.
I think we saw somebody, I think actually Svenos, the recipient of that shot, took such a long snipe the other day. I think it was over 280 meters or something like that. But regardless, here we go. Towards that mid-game right now. It's going to slow down as players decide, hey, Storm Surge is nowhere near right now. We see the X2 twins. We see E11, Kripa, and Boyer trying to take some shots as well. There's Sky and Vato, just like we said, the same position.
They have a rift available. They're keeping it close because if someone will just move with explosive on them, they're going to use the rift instantly.
Yeah. And talk to me about the setup going into endgame. We just talked about the rift. What are all the goals going into it as Magin gets pressured here from Katowice and Nero?
Well, if you want to really simplify it, if you don't have mobility items, you need to wait for other people to use it and just take advantage of that. But if you have your own mobility items, you just want to be safe. You don't want to be passive, and you want to use them probably at the end of this of the phase. But now let's look at Nero and Katowice fighting, and they're struggling against all those explosives. They hear them from every single angle, and they need to be turbo building to just be safe, not to get tagged along, because being tagged when you don't have a lot of, you know, just shields in your inventory, well, spells doom in the end game. But now
Poach put on a bush.
inside the bush.
Yeah, in the bush. We talked about it already. We saw Aiden go down as well. That bush provides a layer of protection on the first shot. And so everybody now trying to get that set up, just like we talked about the mobility if they need it. If they need anything else, they're going to go try to push for it. But remember, we just saw Katowice and Nero, they were taking a little bit of an aggressive approach, taking some shots, but that draws so much attention.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you start being aggressive in an end game, you might get pushed from other angles because people see there's, you know, there's a lot of partying going down, so we can just join in as another party, and that just happens usually in the end game.
And all the players we've been tracking in terms of positioning, people who are staying still, are all going to have to move now as it goes further west, or further east, sorry. There's two.
So pretty flat land, so a lot of opportunity to just take the low ground without being like pinched between a small hill.
Right, on the rotate, there's Zayt and Saf as well. And it's actually going towards that desert area. There's a few massive hills in that area, so flat ground for now, but as they all make their way over, it's going to be trouble. Here, Power and Jar on top of the shrine.
We have
They're
Nick
looking
Merckx
for
and
it.
Aiden, I expected more out of him.
They're looking for it here. They're trying to
But
find
Nick
exactly
Merckx
where
is
these are. No,
leaving
he's going
Aiden
to pick up some
hanging.
wood and rotate down. Yeah, G2 on top. They say, no, we
really,
don't want
really
anything to do with it. Now, you see 72 hours in the background. Vivid and Poach making the rotate as well. Kuna, Mitro, all up. Tomo and Item.
Is
Another one of the
Vivid
teams.
still
There's, I love getting to these end games because I just see all these
Poach
players. They're all up in the
Liquid,
standings,
or
so
Poach
consistent. I'm just like, yes, we're going to have
Vivid.
such a good game.
I don't know if Biz was still
Forward,
alive. I want
norward.
Biz to do well.
How did you came up with this name, man? I need to ask.
I love it. We saw somebody actually mentioned how they waited for, I think it was
Trust
Myth actually
just won
said,
the
hey,
last game.
I just waited. I wanted to match my team, so he called himself what he did. And so Norward there. Forward, Norward. I love it, honestly.
Look at this inventory. What is going on? 3 big pots, 6 minis, so much shield available for them.
And that's what you need. He doesn't have any mobility, so he kind of has to compensate in another way, right?
Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, he has also very big, you know, bank account with his builds. There's a rift for provoked as well. They have to keep it close to each other.
They have so
but
many
they
of
are.
those. A Chug Jug and minis as well for him. So they have a full stack of shield or big pots, a full stack of small shields, and then a Chug Jug as well. They're looking good. As Tux and Provoke took our last game, we'll see they're in a good shape to take our next one as well. Only 1 rift to go though, so that's a little dangerous for them.
But that
Here,
boy
boys,
got
Kripa.
3
Is
gold
he playing
weapons.
solid gold or what is going on in here?
Jesus Christ.
A golden heavy AR is one of the best items you want in the end game because you can just
He got a
snipe
gold
people
RPG?
out of
What
the
you talking
out of
about?
the sky
Fuck
gliding.
that AR.
All that aim practice pays off when you get that gold heavy AR. And now, look, everybody has a rift. You can see everybody's trying to hold it as the zone starts moving. Saf takes down Norward. We saw he was, I think he might have picked up his teammate as well, but
I think
we'll
Saf's
see.
out. No, Saf's
For
right
now,
there. Go Saf's right
there's
there.
the first
Zayt.
sign of Storm Surge as everybody decided, hey, I want a little break as we go forward.
Everyone gets anxious at
Oh
that
my
sound,
goodness.
but
Oh
now
my god, everybody's getting
X8 is getting aggressive. He's being ticked by the Storm Surge. That's so much damage.
He's getting ticked, and at the same time, Bowman is making his life so dangerous. No, this is a different, actually, POV here
But
as
yeah,
we switched.
And unfortunately, G2 is being eliminated. They were an aggressive number, but now
Look.
Stompy is being... is that Stompy with the Storm Surge now?
I think it's every single one of these players, but no.
Nirvana and Inclide just being tagged, but now Inclide not gonna get tagged alone because his teammate's already down.
Stompy and
Storm
Shinken
Surge.
here must have some sort of mobility that they're planning to use because they're not making any motion at all. No motion towards the zone. Kuna takes himself out as well, maybe to fall damage. And we'll see.
That Storm Surge is whack,
Gliding
so
across,
they get
there's that
tagged
rift to go that we
25
talked about.
damage
And there's the
every
hill
time
that we
they
talked
don't
about as well. That half in, out zone. SSK7 and
Oh, he
Jamside
got
had such a
flipped by
strong
that
position
shotgun.
because they came from Paradise towards this desert area, so they were already here.
Yeah, and they can zone out everyone else. Nice 200 IQ trap to just avoid people landing at your box right now.
So
200 IQ
we're
trap.
approaching that first moving zone. That's when things start to heat up. We just saw Zayt get a Elim as well. Vivid takes out Bizzle.
Yep.
Oh,
Big
Bizzle
names,
was
big
still
names. Here, Crippa
Bizzle's
with the
down.
elimination on.
His loadout, though, we talked about he was playing solid gold, but when you're left with just the pump and a heavy IR, you're going to be in trouble. And there's Stompy and Shinken with that epic RPG, takes out Jarl. Just putting so much pressure on all these players trying to rotate and get a good position in the zone.
Ooh, good
So many
rocket.
people just being eliminated right now.
Put that rocket
40
straight
people
in the
still alive.
box.
Shinken and Stompy getting 10 points for eliminating Fnatic.
25 players, or
Man, all you
25
have
duos
is
remaining now as well, so everybody's starting to get those placement points every time a duo goes down. Mitro in trouble as well. He's by himself. We saw Kuna get eliminated in the feed earlier. Vinny and Zexro still left. Demo as well.
Demo with the LM on motor. Very important, gives him the ability to just move a little bit in front.
This VP team so impressive, always having the high ground. We talked about why they have it here, but it's still going to be time to continue to hold it. And we'll see. It's going to probably go down the hill. Where's that zone? We'll see in a sec. Demo goes down.
Important right now. The context of the next zone gives so many teams like the ability to take advantage of their builds and their movement items. But now Nero is just being pinched in this zone.
Yeah,
He
Nero's
gets eliminated at
destroyed.
the end of Devil's One there. Now E11 in a hard spot as well.
Everybody taking all the advantage, all the time to take those shots that they can. And there, SSK7 dropping down on Jam side. We'll see Boyer takes out Eric. There's so much mobility being used now. Everybody's starting to leech on everybody else. And look at this. This is actually crazy by 7 SSK7. He's tarping so far on high ground.
He is carpeting, but he is... Oh, no, never mind!
Who it is? It's Provoked and Tux again. They take high ground with the rift that they had. And unfortunately, they have to be careful. Remember, that is such a small carpet. There's only one line there. And now, Jamside, this is the last one from SSK7. He tries to stay alive. He has the HP to stay in zone right here, and he's going to get away from that player. And now he makes it back into zone. He still has a chance here. Animal and Aspect as well going for high ground. You can see them right now. Crippa Boyer, Stompy Shinken still up.
Aspect and Animal taking the ultimate high ground right now. They're going to gatekeep everyone else from this position, carpeting in front. They're getting so much positioning right now, so much space, so much room to breathe.
This is so nice from that high ground. We saw how good it was for Provoked and Tux. They lost it just now, but Aspect and Animal, we'll see what they can do from high ground, see if they can have a perfect end game. And now, Vinny as well up. Sinu goes down. Poach actually alive as well. Oh, no! What was that? That was so many players just fell, and Animal and Aspect, they decide, hey, actually, this is the time I want to go down. And it's going over this water here, right in the fatal. There, Aspect picking up one more. Boyer goes down to Poach. Kinstar goes down to as well. Six players remaining.
Already 4 LMs on the Sentinels right now here.
Using
Vinny.
that campfire as
Poach
he
is
does.
out.
It's actually
Damn,
Vinny versus
Poach is
Hunter versus
tearing
Aspect
it
and Animal.
up.
We've seen this situation already. Let them fight down on low ground and then clean up the remains. There it is.
There it goes.
Damn it,
Hunter as
boy.
well. And Animal and Aspect are taking the
7
victory
kill
royale in
win.
round
That
number
was
5.
wild.
That's
Poach was
insane.
tearing it
Again,
up
we
on the
see
bottom.
the duo versus two
He died to
solos
the
down on low
storm.
ground, and it ends the exact same way, slightly differently because it just all happened in an instant. Hunter goes down, and then they pick it up all together. Animal and Aspect, what a showing so far.
Fantastic showing by them. The ultimate high ground, as we had seen in the previous game,
That was
paying
damn
off
good.
right now
That
as
was
well.
damn good in
So
there.
many points got about them. I think like 6 elims so far. That's 30 points plus 65 for finishing first. That gives them a huge edge.
Big stuff coming in from those two
They
gentlemen
carpeted
there.
that
What a
whole area
performance
so
from
they
them.
could
They were
have
two
that-
of our guys
just
to
free
watch, should
movement.
we say, as this duos tournament kicked off. We were sort of like, these guys could cause some serious damage in the tournament. Here they are, Victory Royale on the board for them, and certainly announced themselves to the field, gentlemen. And again, we're just seeing that patience in the end game there, just making sure they're not making those bad decisions, not getting rash, and looking for the eliminations too early. Perfect end game play from them.
Perfect end game play again. We saw it from Zayt and Saf. We saw it from Tux and Provoked. And again, Animal and Aspect doing it again. So they're getting the confidence back that they needed. Aspect didn't have the performance he wanted, but today he is. He's having that one. And Animal did so well yesterday, so he's starting to bring it all together in one fluid piece.
And that's what you need to do. Start picking up those big performances as the tournament rolls on, because as we know, every single match that goes past gets more and more important, and you have to start performing. You don't get those mistakes in the bank. The pressure was on these guys a little bit to have a big game here, and they did, Lothar.
Yeah, that is true. At the same time, you know, I feel like we're kind of talking about the same thing every single time, but I'm going to reiterate again. Consistency is key. Winning one game doesn't get you anything, right? If you're not going into good placements later on, you're not going to have anything from this win.
Okay, well, let's go down to Adam on the stage now with our winners of the last game.
Thanks so much, mate. Yeah, Animal Aspect here, our Game 5 winners, everyone. Guys, I can see you here just rocking side to side. You are buzzing. It must feel amazing when something pays off like that.
Yeah, it feels good. That was a pretty hard-earned game. Honestly, our high take was pretty good. And we just held it from there and picked off a bunch of people. Good game.
I mean, our North American players are doing outstandingly well today. You've been really consistent throughout the entire day so far. I guess strat-wise, everything's paying off.
Yeah, we had a couple of rough games because Storm Surge. In the prac games, we didn't really have to deal with that, but we haven't been not fighting as many people, so we've been getting kind of flustered by that, but we tried a new strat this game and it worked out, so.
I've just been fed in my ear as well that you guys have moved up to 3rd in the leaderboard. That is amazing. After 5 games, things could be much better right now, right?
They did damn good.
Yeah, I mean, we
They held
dropped
high
down to
ground very
9th.
well.
The Storm Surge really messing us up, but we did things a little different and worked, so gonna keep trying it and hopefully keep climbing.
And I've asked a few players this already, but obviously, all the caliber of players we have here this weekend, are there players you're already keeping an eye on to kind of think, oh, we got to watch out for those guys and things?
Zayt and Saf, Vinny and Zexro, DML and Bizzle, Mitro and Kuna, all really good duos. They're all doing well, so yeah.
Basically everyone. Basically everyone is capable. But congratulations. Our Game 5 winners, everyone. Aspect and Animal, well done, guys. Best of luck with the rest of the competition. 5 games down already. 2 more to go today. Hopefully these guys can keep up the good work. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you, Adam, Animal, and Aspect, feeling good about themselves as you would expect as we have our standings coming in. And look at that, moving up into 3rd place, but not being able to quite dethrone Vinny and Zexro holding on to that 1st place, gentlemen.
Look at that, 250 for both Sentinels and VP.
That's a
doesn't get much
ball
closer.
game.
It literally doesn't get
Yeah,
any closer.
Does not
Exactly
get
the
much
same.
closer at all. But one of the things I want to talk about there on that first page,
Up in
Zexro and
the-
Vinny are 30
up
points
three,
ahead.
that's
That's
three.
starting to become a nice lead for them. And here, the second page, Kripa and Boyer. Oh, all these actually, these
Demo and
players starting to
Bizzle got
fall.
dropped down to
The players we were
fucking
tracking, but
13.
Provoked and Tux. They had 2 strong games in
Myth
a
and
row. They
Cloud
get
were
all
in
the way to
4th.
12th place. I'm
Now
not
they're
sure where they were
in-
before, but such
in
strong
3.
performances
Now they're
from them.
15th. That's
Game
wild.
back
That's
to back.
bad.
And we saw Demo and his teammate there. They've sort of fallen away from what they had a really good start. Demo and Bizzle, they've had a couple of games where they haven't been able to quite put in the performances they did
They didn't
early. But,
make it.
I mean, Lothar, what are you taking away from these standards?
They need
What
to
I take
figure
away is
something out.
that
They need to do
the
something
top
different.
15 is very close to each other. Like
They're
there were
not winning
differences like
tilted.
159, 157, 155. So the difference is like
Or they
one
are
ele-
winning tilted, but
one
only one of
position
them's
in the
coming out
game.
alive.
That changes so much in the context of just performing in those 2 days. So we're gonna have to like analyze the entire standings after 7 games.
Yeah, that's the thing as well, isn't it? Now, at this point in our previous duos competition where we only had 7 rounds, we're kind of going, okay, now we know what teams have got to do, how they've got to play, what they've got to, look for eliminations if they just try and play for endgame. But now we have all of these games tomorrow as well. This is kind of just like okay, who's hot at the moment? Who's playing well? Whereas if we get towards the end of things
shot.
tomorrow, that's when that becomes more prevalent as far as big games that need to happen right here, right now.
Yeah, and when you're looking at these standings, just like Lothar was saying, how close it is between within the top 15 right there. And when you're digesting these, make sure you bracket these between how many points are between this place and this place. So 10th to 15th, between probably 30 points total.
Yeah,
and that is what you got to do. So when you're looking at who can have the chances to place in the money, this is what you got to do. Bracket these, see how far they can jump in one game.
Okay, gentlemen, fantastic stuff. 5 games down. It's time for a break now. But when we get back, we'll have our penultimate game of today. Before we wrap things up, we'll see you in a second.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Why are you watching me when this could be
This is so you.
Classic you. And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you.
On March 8th.
I got file on you.
What's it say? Big imagination, plays well with others.
That's what I'm talking about.
Captain Marvel, rated PG-13, everywhere March 8th.
What is that?
Mine. Why?
It's just that it's...
Lavender? Yes, it is. It's for men.
But I like the smell of it.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, and things are starting to get a little bit spicy here in Katowice as we get down to business once again in the duos. We're down to our penultimate game of the day. Just 2 more rounds to go here before we know how the standings are ahead of our 7 rounds of duos action tomorrow. Before we get into our next game, though, we want to highlight one of the top European talents we have in the tournament, and his name is Mota.
Let's start with my biggest strength. My strength is rotating to zone extremely fast and trying to look for opportunities where I can shoot enemies. Well, it's mainly just trying to survive for late game and get the most points out of it. My biggest weakness right now is the late game nerfs that I will get, because whenever it's late game and there's like a few people left and I will get the pressure by that I have a chance to win a lot of money, which will probably make me point blank and make my aim really bad. You get better at Fortnite, like mechanically wise, you just have to play creative, playground, or just play pubs to increase your mechanics. And if you want to play creative, play against someone that's on your higher level. For example, I play against Metro, which really helps me a lot. But if you want to like get better at scrims, you have to play a lot of Atlantis scrims or like get customs to get the best possible practice you can ever get. I don't actually have a training routine. I get whatever I can find, I will do it. For example, if there's customs that I can use to play with the best people in the world, I will immediately switch to customs. But if I don't have them, for example, I will just play scrims. And if the scrims are getting really bad, I will play creative to increase my mechanic and aim. The most important aspect of the game I think in every game the most important thing is having a good mentality and don't be scared of anything. If you have a right mentality, you can do actually everything and learn really fast.
Game 6 is about to start.
Absolutely love that interview there from Motor. Some of the things that go into being one of the top players in the world, and some fantastic advice there. One thing that I particularly like, always be trying to play with players that are above your level so that you can improve yourself.
It's not easy to learn how to improve your own gameplay if you're not being beat yourself. If you're always the best, you're never really going to get better. I like that quite a bit from him. I also like the idea of the mentality going into the matches, going into a tournament, going into scrims with the right mentality. Going into a match that you know, oh yeah, it's just another Thursday, it's 5th game of the day, whatever. But trying to learn something, really, you know, trying to take that as a tournament-setting match, and then using that obviously when you get to these big dog games.
Every game is
Who's in here?
practice. Every game,
Drop that
when
like,
they're
baby.
out here playing at the hardest, everything's going into their brains and they're absorbing as
Make
much
sure everybody
information
drops
as they
that like
can.
in the stream, man.
And you always want to prepare yourself as much as
I'm
possible.
gonna,
What I like to do before
every
a
time
round
I'm
is to
home,
mix
we
up
get
my
a big
setup.
tournament like
Be a
this.
little
Now that
bit
I'm on
hard, be a
PC,
bit
I'm gonna
lower.
help out.
Kind
And I'm
of
gonna stream
always
these
throw
on
yourselves
YouTube.
curveballs because you never
a lot
know
of people
what
stream
could
these
be
on Twitch. I know a lot of people
And of
don't
course,
like
welcome
use
to the
Twitch,
Desk Gentleman on
but I'm
6
gonna
day
stream
as
them
well.
on
Jason
YouTube.
Kaplan and
This
Zacchaeus,
is kind of
great
a
to have
test
you
one just to
two
see if I
gentlemen
was
back
gonna get
joining us here.
hit for
6th game of the day
copyright,
we have coming up,
and I have
just
it.
2 more rounds
So
to go. We are seeing a
it's
couple of players
really,
get a little bit of a
really
lead
good
here as
thing
we
right
see
now.
our duo standards coming
Gonna
up.
allow me
Vinny
to keep
and
doing this.
Zexro, I mean, Vinny's having a fantastic time here in Poland. He really couldn't be having a better day,
Yeah.
or better
I wanna
couple of
see the
days,
likes
should I
go
say.
up.
But a little bit of
That
a
way I
gap there,
can
but as
make
we
it
are
worth it.
seeing go down there, a lot of these teams, a lot of these duos staying very tightly contested. And with
Ghost
so many more games
Saf
to
is
come
doing
tomorrow,
great.
I just imagine that
Poach.
a lot of these top
Poach
teams
popped
around this
off last
top
game.
10, top 15 are going to be looking for placing points right now over
I think we
eliminations.
got
Yeah,
one,
and I think
two,
we're also seeing, you know, like the
three.
mentality of
We
a
got fourth
team
or
coming
fifth
into a 2-day
Dodgers
tournament.
store.
You know, instead of just a 1-day where you have to play that last match, right? You can go into this one, like you said, play for placings, try to get some extra points in there, and then kind of spend this night looking at like what you did right and what you did wrong. Looking over your own VODs, looking over if they're streaming themselves, what they did there, looking over the cast as well so they get a general idea of how everyone is playing as well.
Yeah, get as much information as possible, learn as much about your enemies when you come into a tournament like this. Any little bit of information goes a massive, massive way.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Something that we haven't kind of touched on, the opportunity to go away after a day of fierce competition here in the duos and sit back and watch the rebroadcast. Maybe look at where some of the other duos are landing. Maybe mix up your own game. Look at some of the things that are being used in this Season 8 update that you haven't maybe recognized yourself as yet. It's such a huge opportunity for these guys to learn so much before coming back tomorrow where we really get down to business.
Can I bring up a topic for us to discuss really quickly? Is that allowed? Is that cool?
Go on, you do it.
All right.
Everybody
so
drop a like
anyway,
on the
so I didn't
stream,
really
man.
care what you
Drop
said.
a stream out, please.
I think that I
every
want to
time
talk
they come
about is
on.
7SSK7 and Jamside. Have yet to take a victory royale, just like Vinny was unable to do in the solos yesterday. But they've shown how important
Battle
it
Bus
is
is already
in
hitting,
late game,
so
in very, very late game,
once
to
they drop,
maintain
they'll
high ground position.
switch screen.
Because they haven't been able to take a victory, and yet they're currently placed number 4 off of placements and off these eliminations. And we've seen a lot of teams try to contest these high grounds. We've seen a lot of rocket launchers being shot up there to knock people down, which was successful against them before. But they're really putting so much importance on that.
They've been playing real tough, real tough, and they've been dropping Paradise, which isn't an easy starting ground. There are 3 teams landing at Paradise, including themselves there, but things will be kicking off pretty shortly, I think.
Well, it looks like things will be kicking off even shorter than that. They're kicking off now, actually.
Oh, no.
Round number 6 is underway. As you can see here, the bus is ready. The players are jumping out. They'll find their landing spots. Gentlemen, it's over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. And yes, something I wanted to bring up, Zacchaeus, as we get underway here with this match is about these drop locations, right? We've seen over the course of today a lot of action happening in Tilton, obviously with Aiden and Nick Merckx, as you expect. But for me, it's been more about looking at Vitality players, Kilos and Maxaliber, because they were going Tilted before. And then they started to change things up when they realized this is not working for us. We are not being successful in this location. And they switched up over to Lonely Lodge as well. So we're seeing like these changes come in, which I think is something we're going to see almost out of every team over the course of these last 2 matches. And of course, tomorrow.
Sure. Unfortunately, I don't think it's been going too well for them when they've been landing Lonely Lodge, though. I think they've been actually getting eliminated by Myth and Cloud.
So change it up again, then I guess we'll see.
Well, maybe they committed and tried again. We don't know. Myth and Cloud, funny enough, in the last game, didn't get too far.
Well, we can see here, Animal and Aspect going to be going up to Snobby Shores.
Myth and
Going to be
Cloud
separating across this
party. They
location.
got
Won't have anyone in the near
gatekeep
vicinity
third
at the
party.
moment, so not
They're
too big
fighting
of a deal
someone
for them
in
as
the
they're going to be
storm,
able to farm
and
up
they got
here and
gatekeep.
look
So when they
relatively good as we
eliminated the
progress
guys
through
in the
into this
storm,
round.
This
they
is
got
the Liquid
annihilated.
Poach Beehive Coffee sort of fight happening in Pleasant Park. This has happened multiple times already, Jason, and it's been pretty bad for Beehive right now and Coffee. They've been losing the majority of the fights in the last 2 games, so they really need to step it up.
Well, we can see here a lot of already action happening as Rizart, who the 2 Japanese players here with Llama have been having a rough start. Now we see Hupek and Skix going to be going over towards Tilted Towers as Nick Merck's already able to take down Hupek off the bat, and they've had a very, very rough duo tournament for them. And Hupek will eventually be finished
already
off.
putting in work.
Wax just farming up the building here, just trying to get some many mats as he can. Crazy Llama wants to push this aggressively. We saw him landing retail yesterday a lot, pretty much their favorite drop here. And Nick off. Oh no, Rizart has to be careful as he gets ganked from behind here, I believe. But slowly takes the high ground, plays it a little bit safe. And Airwax is getting... No, he's fine. Sorry. I misread that situation.
It's fine.
Completely.
Thing is, I bet even sometimes they misread the situations quite a bit as they have to switch things up. And again, information is always going to be key when coming into these battles. And speaking of information, Fa in History are trying to get aggressive here, looking for a very early fight. Tac shotgun in the hands of History, so he's going to be the one leading the charge in. They do have this high ground position. A lot of materials as well here, Zakibus, being expended out of both teams.
Yeah, they want to commit to this fight as much as possible, get the elim, and also get those mats, which will pop out of your opponent as you get the win. But let's see how they handle this. Good tac shotgun coming in, pressuring the side here, but really his teammates focusing both sides here, I believe.
Just go for a little bit of a pincer move here, which we've seen work over the course of today so many times. As far he's got his own tac shotgun again. They're trying to replace these walls here. He does eventually close the distance. Tixi going to be knocked down, and they can potentially finish this off. And that looked almost all too easy here for the 2 Brazilians.
Very, very interesting. The Brazilians actually told me that they were committed to landing Paradise and fighting it, but obviously change of plans yet again, and they've been having some great success. I think that's the 2nd time they've eliminated that team at Salty Springs too.
Well, we can see here Miz and Jules. And Jules actually take his own victory out in solos yesterday. If he missed out on that match, they have a rift to go, and not much more beyond that here, Zakibus. I'm assuming they're not going to be too confident with the loadout they do have, but luckily for them, there's not a lot of action in their location. Now, Kaiser and Morgan up against
Myth
and
landed
Cloud.
here?
That's
That's
trying to
trash.
rotate around. He actually takes the vent here, and I think they're trying to just disengage this fight, give this location up.
But where's Cloud? Is he already down?
I want to say he's already taken it.
No, he's actually pretty safe.
Yeah, I think he was actually like right next to him up towards the north as they both did take that vent and escape. So the Atlantis pair here have been able to lock down this position. Obviously going to be farming up quite a bit here, but I respect that play out of Myth and Cloud. Every game counts.
Oh, of course, and they've been playing very well together actually this tournament. It's a kind of a surprise because Myth hasn't performed at all, but he's really stepping up to the plate now.
Oh yeah, both
as
of them.
all the American teams are. They're really performing and really grinding up this leaderboard.
I'm curious to see how he does tomorrow as well, this duo, because they have been getting consistently better as the day's been going on. Yes, they have been eliminated a little bit earlier on in some prior games, but they've been looking good. Llama already going to be knocked down. Rizart not going to be by himself in a 1-on-2 situation up against the Twins, and this is almost just not fair when you're playing against the telepathic players from Renegades here in Australia, and they will close this out and take their eliminations.
Telepathic synergy there coming in from the Australians. Very, very well played as we switch over to Tilted Towers here. And of course, we've got Aiden, Nick Merckx, and Aries just dropped into the equation. Straight onto Aries with Noad and pushing the equation, and he's managed to escape. Aiden,
Aries
quick
just
running, quick get into the
damage,
top
30 on
of
each.
Trunk Tower there.
I think that's Nick Merckx off to the side trying to help out. Actually, no, it's another team. It's the Fax Fox crew with Aim Hero from Korea trying to help them out here. So a little bit of an awkward fight between 5 players.
Yeah, Aiden, I think he's on his own there, right? Where's Nick? Is he
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Was he eliminated? We don't see him on the screen. I'm looking at our spiffy little tablet. I don't see him in the activity feed either. So
No,
he actually
Nick's
is alive,
still
and he does
alive.
have an elimination. He's just not really in vicinity as he's looking to actually close this distance now. Maybe trying to flank in from the side.
I think he almost had an angle there onto Aries, but missed the opportunity, and Aries now just turtling up on the side. And we have an action coming in from Aiden as he pushes onto Noad. They're having a bit of an edit fight right here in the staircase. Can get a little bit awkward with those edits there.
And we can see
Yeah, but
Jules and
Aiden's
Miz,
got
they're
that.
already able to take
Aiden's
down both Excalibur, and Keyless is going to fall as well here in a second. Won't be able to get much off of that. Aries has knocked himself down.
Oh, falling down.
I honestly feel like whenever someone jumps off and takes themselves out of the fight, Myth should be paid royalties every time.
I think he should. I mean, rightfully so. He's coined the phrase.
And we did actually have history go down to Smeef. So Milan and Smeef, that's not someone we really talked about a ton, Zacubus, today. We haven't really been able to talk about them in a great light just because they haven't been performing too well. But they still have that potential. Smeef was doing great in solos yesterday. Milan, we know him as being this prodigy, but he hasn't really hit his peak just yet. But again, being a young player, being 16, playing on a stage in front of an audience, there's a lot of different pressure on you, especially when you don't have your own potato PC here to play on. Or potato laptop, I guess I should say.
Very true. And as you can see, Milan is already down, and Smeef having to do all the hard work by himself. And it's going to be very difficult for the Brit to actually get in and get in some action here.
So I think Smeef actually took down History, and then Fa took down Milan. So they're actually having now a 1v1 as the conclusion of this battle should be eventually finishing off here. As you can see, Smeef going to be on the higher position. In the meantime, the X2 boys did chime in with another elimination themselves, and Smeef,
I saw that
he will
coming.
fall. Fa's going to come out the victor.
That was sick.
But he still will be by himself here in a world of hurt with so many players left alive.
That pump just did massive damage. I believe he was on like 180 HP there. Absolutely destroyed there. Smeef going to be a little bit annoyed, I guess, but got to move with the punches.
I think for those two players who are so young, obviously they're not out of this entire tournament just yet. There's still a chance they can make their way up the rankings. But I think it's a good learning experience for them. You know, Zacubus, if you think back to the first tournament that you ever played in, you know, in front of a crowd, it was just a big learning experience in general, just to kind of control your emotions when it comes to playing on a stage, controlling those nerves as well. Next two boys again clean up another elimination, and really excited to see what they can do over the course of the rest of today and of course tomorrow.
Me too. I really hope the Australian boys really kick it up into gear. I want to see them perform. I want to see, you know, Korea do well. Obviously Australia, all the underdogs that are currently unknown really and not have much action.
Nick
but this
just
is
destroyed
huge. They
them.
shoot out the quad bike. Oh, Nick Merckx. Oh, Bowman, Alpha gone.
Nick just
from
destroyed
just
that
second,
quad
one
bike.
mistake
That
going
was
on the quad.
lit.
That is a little bit unfortunate
But they
for
didn't
them.
get the kills.
And that's the downside of using the quad crasher. Well, we saw the quad and we saw the crash.
Absolutely huge from Nick Merckx. Oh my God, that was insane. Just at the right time. I don't think that the Na'Vi boys knew where they were down in the river and just risked going for that rotation. But they got absolutely beamed.
So now I'm wondering with Poach here, where is Vivid? I'm not sure if he was eliminated early on or if he's in just the near vicinity of his motor. And Eric Triceps now looking to potentially pull off a 2v1, which obviously would work very well for them.
Vivid's out.
Keep in mind, as we can see here, Nick Merckx did not get credit for those, by the way.
Did he not? Surely he did.
According to this, he did not get credit. And from what I saw in the activity feed, he didn't get credit either, even though I did see a little bit of damage in there. Maybe didn't hit the final shots or something, but no credit being given to them, so they don't get the extra 10 points, which is kind of a shame for them. But nonetheless, a great job of them to take two of their opponents out of the rest of this round.
Mitra and Kuna pushing in aggressive with those stinks, putting the pressure on their opponents. Good stuff. Oh, I think he just hit himself there.
That was
has to rotate a little bit. Mitro, a little bit of a mistake there.
Teofsky. If you guys haven't seen the clip from him yesterday, make sure to check that one out. That was a sight to be seen, and I actually got to talk to him at a party last night, and he obviously was very, very upset with what happened, but he laughed it off. He had a good time with it. But if they get pushed here and they get eliminated, I can hear the nyets coming out of him another time.
I mean, you just got to own it. I mean, he did the cannonball roll out on the
That
stage.
was great. That was fantastic. That was definitely one of the greatest things I've seen today when it came to the intros. Kuna and Micho, 0 eliminations. They have a rift. They have some good weaponry as well to use here in this situation. Obviously, they want to be able to secure these because they're looking fairly good in the standings overall. So if you're Teofsky and Nero, you have to respect them here. And speaking of that, that's going to be Teofsky going to be knocked down as well as Nero. And that was, again, just a pretty clean sweep here.
There was no problem for the Atlantis boys there. Mitro and Kuna doing excellent work, really putting the pressure on, keeping those Polish players locked into that box and not making them move or have any escapes very quickly. And it was very nicely done, Jason.
Funk Bomb with the dynamite being thrown in, I think that did some decent damage to 0-7, knocking a majority, if not all, of his shield out. Do have the Vic Black Shoe going to be out of this round as well, just to kind of give you a quick little update what's been going around the map.
Yeah, Little J and Zero just setting up near Nate and Funk Bomb. Funk Bomb having a little look over there just to check out what's going on. And most teams will be kind of settling up down in the south region here as it goes over Paradise, the zone.
Oh, Shinken going to be by himself now as he was the winner of Game 3. Going to be a tough battle for him with his back up against the wall, but luckily the attention isn't towards him. You can see Aspect and Anna going for the chase on the Airwax. Sneak up trying to provide some sort of cover from the high ground, but he's being shot as well here from a third party. It's just a big skirmish breaking down. Going Got a couple of clingers trying to be thrown in as well, trying to look for some early damage. You can see Nikov just trying to protect himself. The problem is Airwax is by himself. Nikov has to be here to support his teammate.
And Airwax down.
Great stings coming in here from Airwax.
Oh, Airwax got a knock.
That's a big pick there. One of the favorites. He's been doing incredibly well and making his way up the ladder very, very quickly here.
And
Demo, Bizzle, Tomo, Item, who have actually, I believe, in the top 10 as well. I think they're ranked 7, if I'm not mistaken, in the vicinity. Even here, Faxfox, Shinken, Nate, and Funk Bomb. So many players in this location. So it looks like Animal will be finished off, but Aspect's looking for the left-hand shot. They're not able to connect as, again, those stink bombs really doing some serious work here and denying a lot of positions, a lot of angles that you can fight from.
Yeah, it's
but Airwatch is sitting there killing himself with them.
It's pushing people out of their boxes and giving opportunities to get the damage that they want, or find an opportunity to get that free rotation, that little gap to do the damage, but you know,
I respect this, by the way, out of these two boys, Airwax and Nikov, because yes, they could have chased on for that final elimination, but there's no point to, right? There's no point to get so aggressive and get caught out and put yourself in a bad situation to potentially be knocked out prior to top 25. So I can respect that play. Play a little bit more passive, you know, get these more guaranteed points further on later into the round.
I 100% agree with you, Jason, and that's very rare to do. Little J07. Oh, they've got a rift to go here. They're just picking up. Obviously, they've been supplying themselves quite well. Only the AR is kind of the missing piece here, and very limited ammo on that front as well. They've been obviously poking left, right, and center. Zaf and Safe having a bit of a skirmish with Svenos and Anzis. But they're going to dip out here at Fatal Fields. Try and go for a rotation by the looks of it.
Meantime, Scram. I think he had one of the greatest interviews yesterday when we had the solos. You could just see the energy that was going through him and how, not shocked he was, but the adrenaline coursing through his veins when he did pick up that victory.
Yeah,
him and Sakona are going to be
That's
alive for now.
unfortunate. There's a lot of guys way outside the circle.
As we see the whole map here, we can see who's left in the game. Villax and Kinson actually have been doing very, very well. Actually, they're 7th currently right now. And they've been climbing the leaderboard quite well, but doing it very stealthily, as well as Mitro and Kuna.
You can see Little J able to help secure that one with 0. They do eliminate and get eliminations on their side. Most importantly, Windwalker going to be on the high ground now as he's going to be by himself and eventually chased on. The RPG comes in, knocks him back down to the ground. Yeah, and you can just tell this is going to be so tough to get away from the traps coming in. And luckily, Little J doesn't run into that one, and they will escape with not too much damage done to them.
That was if that was Windwalker's trap there, that was a great play, putting a trap there, giving you that little bit of an edge to move across that 1-by-1 space and actually push into your opponent. I don't think he was ready for that at all, but luckily he just didn't get the damage on the shots. So, you know, Windwalker flaked out a bit, but it was still a very quick thinking play, and I respect that a lot.
Demo, Bizzle, Sky, who we haven't talked about a ton when it's come to duos. He was very prominent yesterday in the solos, having a relatively quiet game, but that's what we've kind of been saying, right? Is that solos and duos are completely different beasts, and you can have these players who do really well in solos not be able to necessarily transition as well into duos when obviously things get way more complicated, and you have to communicate with another player and kind of try to be on that same wavelength, which is why the two Australian boys have an advantage since they're twins.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that telepathic.
Telepathy?
Yeah, telepathy. That's the one. That's the one.
I got you. That's what I'm here for. This is what I do. Not a great caster, but I can help you out with words. Zextro and Vinny, two players we definitely have to keep an eye on. And just imagine, Vinny, what, 48 hours ago, being signed to TSM, won the solo tournament within 24 hours. If they win the duo tournament as well, I think Vinny's going to be like, hey, TSM, I need a raise.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. They're going to be incredibly happy with those pickups, and they're doing so solidly right now. It's insane.
Just signed to TSM, that's well.
It could be back-to-back winners for TSM. And, you know, Myth and Cloud are still in the running still.
Well, as we talked about high ground, we talked about SSK7 and Jam side. They're going to be doing it yet again here as they do have themselves set up nicely inside of this safe circle with a lot of RPGs to use. I believe that was 6 left in their kit.
Interesting, we were saying this earlier on, Jason, that they always seem to be in the right spot at the right time. They're on the highest ground possible in this circle, and they're just set up perfectly for the next one too.
Just to remind you guys, they're currently ranked 4th
up there too,
and have not had a victory royale out of our first 5 games. So this is a team who's just been playing so well and consistently getting into those top 10 places. In the meantime, Vinny is having a lot of damage done to him. Just look at the players around him as well. We've got the 2 Australians, the X2 boys, or brothers next to them as they're just bouncing out of this one. Got towards their south. We got Mitro and Kuna there. We got Eric and Motor, who's been actually getting better, you know? They've been consistently improving over the course of the day, and that's what I like to see when it comes into these tournaments, especially these 2-day tournaments we have for this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, top 10 contenders all around in that area having to rotate, and it's a big rotation for them. They have to be careful. Hopefully they use the right items, maybe just find the right spaces to maybe do it with mats, but it's difficult, and we've got Kinstar actually getting pressured here, and he's been doing incredibly well as well.
He just pushed out actually to pick up some loot that was on the ground, so I think they got an elimination on their side. Saf has actually been dropped by Skix. Nick Merckx as well has fallen, and Mitro is going to be dropped by Zex Rose. So we're seeing a lot of these big dogs, a lot of these big names that we've expected to be into these top 10 positions starting to be knocked out relatively early.
Yeah, we've got Item and Tomo. They've been doing consistently well throughout the day, and Zayt and Saf. Big pickups there from Skits as Zayt goes down, but...
Oh, Fa, we talked about him before. History was dropped when they had that 2v2 fight. He came out the victor in the 1v1. He's now out of this fight as Boyer will secure the elimination onto him. Apparently, Crippa and Boyer, they've been kind of like sneaking their way through, right? We haven't like talked about them too much, but they've been consistently and consecutively getting these good positions and, you know, eking their way into the top 10.
Yeah, there's a lot of ninjas out there right now, Jason, proving themselves. And Touch and Provoke are one of those duos teams that are complete ninjas. They've been taking these high ground retakes that are really risky, especially in the last game. And
Ninja and Tifu.
Myth and Cloud at the tippity top.
And,
I'm liking this. I'm liking this position. We can see the Storm Surge starting to get active here. I think that was one of the players getting some damage done to him. He's going to be knocked down. Demo's going to get credit for that one. The Myth and Cloud, I want to start seeing get some eliminations here, get some damage being done. They're above the threshold, I believe, both the players. They have a rift to go as well if they need it for the next zone. But they have the high ground at the moment, and they have a shooting spree around them.
They've got a rift to go. They're in a great position to rotate from this spot, take some damage onto their opponents, you know, laser some people as that's what they're doing as the zone moves in, but they will have to move from it pretty shortly. It just depends how they want to do it.
I want to see the battle between 7 SSK7 Jamside and Demo and Bizzle, because Demo and Bizzle over the course of the day have been very consistent at getting from low ground to high ground, taking the ultimate high ground position. And 7 SSK7 and Jamside have been actually the ones who I think for the majority have been able to maintain or at least lock down the control for the most part. We can see Cloud takes down Provoke there. See 7 SSK7 has been able to get elimination himself too. Skix trying to get his way through as you can see Myth get some good damage onto him as he's trying to transition across.
Yeah, he will be eliminated there. Myth and Cloud cleaning him up there. But look, some big fire coming in from Cloud, pushing in onto the Atlantis boys there. Kinzel and Vilex. Wow, good building here, but oh, whiffed it at the end.
He's got first aids though, so he's fine. He didn't lose any shield off of that one. If he can just get himself set up nicely here, he's going to be back to that full HP or at least 169 health. Marky's going to fall. 7 SSK7 actually has been incapacitated at the moment, but like the Myth and Cloud playing together here. Bizzle going to be directly below them. Vinny and Zexro more than happy to just sit here on the low ground and let this one play out. Play for those placement points.
Definitely. Vilex just sitting there, campfiring up. That could be a clue for other people around him to maybe fire a rocket, disturb him, nesting up the top there, showing he's a little bit weak.
Chat 72 hours is alive as well here too. You have to keep that in mind as we start to get into the places. We're at 25 now, so if you do get eliminated, you are going to get some points on the board, albeit not a lot, but some is better than none.
Kicking it by himself.
And Aiden, actually, he's still alive. He lost Nick Merckx earlier on, but he's still fighting.
That's really impressive for Aiden. Like, it's his late game is very, very difficult for him. His early game is incredibly strong, such a great eliminator, but now he has to make the rotations along with everybody else.
All right, so Vilex and Kinzel, they're the two currently with the ultimate high ground. That most likely will be changing in the next few moments as the Storm will be moving. You can see Power using that launch pad to his advantage. Jarl, in the meantime, he's going to go for a different route as he's walking across. Livato is going to be eliminated. Yeah, we're seeing players who have been incapacitated, just eventually being finished off here. Chap, actually on the bottom of the mountain, might start losing some HP too. As a lot of damage being done. Power has actually been able to take the high ground himself here in the meantime as he's lost Jarl. 72 Hours is now out of the fight. Kinstar's now out of the fight. Svenos is out of the fight. Constantly players are being eliminated here left and right.
Oh my, how is this happening so quickly? What's going on out there? People are just going down, but things are just so hectic that you just can't keep up with all the action, Jason.
You have to find some sort of semblance here in this chaos, find some sort of route to fight your way out of it here if you want to get out of those darkest holes and into the bright limelight of a victory royale. Vinny, he's going to be alive with Zextro as well. Tomo, again, one of those ninjas we've been talking about. Him and Item have been doing fairly well. Kinzel, X8, going to be dropped on the low ground here. Bizzle trying to get his way across here.
Bizzle's
the X2 boy is going to be popping a rift, getting up high in the air.
Can Boya and Cripper get it? I don't think they can. They were down there for it, but I don't think they can squeeze in. I think they're going to have to find out the hard way how to get out of this circle, and it's going to be very difficult for them.
You can see the control they have of a lot of these walls for Zextro and Vinny, so this is really easy for them to rotate through. As you can see them trying to maintain high ground control. A lot of materials, a lot of builds left to go for themselves. Razaru to take down Kaiser Mitz, eventually going to be dropped here by Jamside. And the high ground, it's now in the favor of the Aussies.
It's about time, Jason. It's about time. But Power has found an entrance there at the back. Have to be a little bit more defensive here. But he's going to actually give it up. He's going to go mid-ground instead. Maybe he's out of mats there, Power. But he had an opportunity to really disrupt the Australians. Item squeezing down on the low ground.
Squeaky bum
Man,
moment for him as he has no HP here towards the very low ground. The Australians on the high ground.
There's a high
Jesse
chance that he takes
with
it,
7
even on low
eliminations
ground.
and the dream here. 10 players left alive. This is 100 points if they can pick the victory royale. But there's going to be more than that, especially if they're able to get any more eliminations on top. That Cloud is still fighting for him. And Vinny going to be in there with Zextro as well, so he still have that duo left alive. Bizzle takes down Isma. And Tux somehow, another Ninja player has been able to actually just sneak his way through here unharmed.
Yep, he's just going to have to play that low ground game, play it safe as much as he possibly can. Wiggle his way through that crazy maze that is now built underneath him. But he's in a bad position here. He's getting tagged on every side of him. And now
Bizzle took out
Cloud.
It's getting rough here. You can see the Australian boys be fighting up against Vinny and Zextro. He's trying to battle out for who has the ultimate high ground, trying to shoot down, rain down damage from above. 5 players left to go here. Now Bizzle's going to be dropped. Zextro's going to get that elimination. Jesse's still on 7 limbs. Hasn't been able to take it to the next level just yet, but he has that big game under his belt already. And now with 4 left to go, it comes down to a 2-on-1 technically, because Vinny is down. I think they know this. I think they're going to try to rush into this one. Zextro has no chance of picking Vinny up. So can Zextro pull off the 1v2, or the Australians take here their first victory royale?
It's going to be really interesting to see if they're just going to waste the time here, just play for the circle, get the rotations. But, you know, I don't think they want to play too aggressive in this situation, Jason. They want to play it nice and cool. But, we've got some medkits coming out here for Zextro at the bottom, but this is huge for him. Obviously, hot contender, already in first place.
Zextro, he's out of the storm. He's taking some damage. He's trying to take higher ground. He's trying to get around them. He's trying to somehow pull off this 1v2. And as we can see, it's not working out too well for them here. He's down on very low HP. And I think the Australians have done it. Renegades, Jesse and Jordan have been able to take their first victory royale and put Australia on the map.
It's about time, Jason. It's about time that these guys got their synergy together. And it's great to see them coming out on top. And Jesse, what a carry
8
there.
eliminations. That's insane.
So insane.
That boy did it
they
by
were
himself.
a little bit lucky towards the late game. There was an opportunity for Power to knock them down, but he bottled out. He knew that it was too much a tough situation to attempt. So dives down, Jesse, and then
Jordan, yeah, they're able to just really come together at the right moment, especially there at the end. Having that 2v1, those are situations that you should not lose. If you're a pro player, if you're at the top of your game, you should never lose the 2v1s.
Finally, we see it. We've been waiting for it all day. We've been waiting for the X2 twins to perform like that.
I appreciate everybody
stopping in to see from them.
This with
That's
me.
what we expected, I'm sure.
Don't mind
The
like on the
Oceania
stream,
region
it
right
helps the
now
stream
is
a lot.
celebrating in the Twitch chat. I'm sure
Got
that they're
one more
absolutely
game,
loving it. Congratulations
this will be
to
over.
Jesse and Jordan on a huge victory royale there. But 8 eliminations as well coming in from Jesse. He took that game by the scruff of the neck.
He did. I think it's like if you give him that control, I think obviously Jordan was doing some help too. Let's not count him out just because there was a 0, just because there was a goose egg next to him doesn't mean he wasn't helping. And they were working well together as a team. Yeah, the eliminations went towards Jesse, but they played so well together. And the thing is, like, I think there's a lot of pride on the line for them, not only being from Australia, but they have a brother team, sister team here competing in one of the tournaments at the Intel Extreme Masters. And obviously they were here rooting them on as well, and finally being able to live up to that has to feel great.
Oh, definitely. It feels fantastic. I'm sure that they're going to be
Drop
having
that
a
like,
party
drop
back
that
at the
subscribe,
hotel
man.
about it as
I'm
well.
gonna be
Hopefully
doing
not,
this on
because they have to
every
play tomorrow.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
big tournament that comes up now. That
I do forget that.
But I'll tell you what, let's ask them, Hal. Let's see what they're going to do after that victory royale. I believe that Adam is down on the floor with our Australian duo winners from the last game.
I certainly am, buddy. Thank you very much there. I am joined by the X2 twins. Game 6 winners. Guys, amazing performance there. Jesse, I'll come to you. 8 eliminations. Is Jordan riding your coattails right now or what?
Nah, yeah, I mean, he's IGL, so he does a lot of work like behind the scenes, yeah.
You guys are performing brilliantly. I mean, walk us through the end game there. Walk us through the actual game itself. How did it feel to play in that moment?
Yeah, that was so much fun. We changed up our drop spot, and Jesse just popped off, dude. I was just following him the whole game. He was going off.
I mean, when you're in those situations as well, where you have all those players being squeezed into the final circle, does mindset change at all? The strategy keeps it exactly the same? How do you guys play together? How do you work things out?
We do it game by game, but that game we had enough loot from all the kills, so we decided to dive for height. It worked out, so yeah.
We saw there at the end game as well, Vinny and Zexro again are making it to the final circle. When you guys know you're up against those guys, you have to take it to another level to make sure you get the victory, or what?
Yeah, they're killing it right now. They're super consistent, and yeah, they're playing so well.
I mean, you guys have earned some serious points as well here. A victory royale in Game 6. Great points there from the eliminations. You must be really pleased with how the day is coming to a close. I bet you can't wait to get back here tomorrow as well.
Yeah, for sure. We had a bad stroke of luck at the start, but this is good relief.
Well, congratulations. Our Game 6 winners, guys. The X2 Twins! Congratulations, dudes. Best of luck with the rest of the competition. Mark, back to you guys. What a great performance that was.
Fantastic stuff from those two gentlemen, and they started off with my favorite Aussie saying of all, which is "yeah nah," which I just love hearing it. Huge performance from those, but we need to talk about the two players. They also mentioned in that interview, Vinny and Zexro again getting points on the board. Zacchaeus.
Oh, they're just stacking those points up. I'd be very interested to see what else is happening with Zaf and Zate at the moment, because things are, they're heating up right now.
And that's around a 90-point lead now.
Yeah.
They could potentially take into tomorrow, depending on how our final game of the day goes. That's a huge gap.
You need like a victory royale and 7 eliminations to actually close that distance and hope that they get knocked out of top 25 with 0 limbs. That's how big of a lead they have. But as we saw, the two Aussies have not even been able to crack the top 10 just yet. And that kind of shows they've been unable to really do well earlier on, but maybe that was a spark they needed to really get things going.
I think that's a great point, and obviously that's just going to breed confidence through them. Maybe, we can't speak for them, but it might be a case of, they put too much expectations on themselves coming into this tournament. They've had to sort of relax a bit, get into the flow of things, and now that they've got that victory royale, then hopefully they're going to pick up a little bit more momentum.
So if they're at 125 points, that means they had 20 points before that match, if I'm not mistaken, if I can do math correctly. So that means they...
Don't look at me for math.
Yeah,
no help.
Guys, help me out.
Help.
But that just shows like the kind of performance they have, but not necessarily because they've been playing bad, but because that's the caliber of players we have here at this tournament. You can have the best players in the world still not be able to do as well when you're competing against everyone who's on an equal level.
I love to see those guys switch up. Obviously, the home ground was Yonder's Yard, and they told me beforehand, before this whole event started, that they never lose it. Never, but obviously the competition is kicking up.
That's a ballsy thing to say. Never lose it.
It is indeed, and the competition is certainly hotting up. Gentlemen, fantastic stuff. As always, it's time for our final break of the day now. When we get back, we've got our final game of the day, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a doozy.
I'm excited to see what the last game happened. Everybody drop that like, everybody drop that sub. Help the channel out. We're going to be doing these big streams, these big competition tournaments every time they happen now. So they always get streamed on Twitch, now they're going to be on YouTube. So hope everyone enjoys. Appreciate everyone stopping in and staying. And get on to the next one.
Think she can't get a last-second clutch? Watch this. Think he can't carry his team while streaming in high resolution? All the while recording a once-in-a-lifetime win? Watch this. Think leveling up only happens in-game? Watch this. On Intel Core i7, they'll rise to every challenge. Now it's your turn. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7.
Why are you watching me when this could be you? This is so you.
Classic you. And this could be us.
This is all waiting for you! PS4 for the players!
On March 8th.
You were the fastest, the strongest, the absolute baddest. I get in trouble for that.
Discover your power.
That's what I'm talking about.
Captain Marvel. Rated PG-13.
ESL Katowice Royale, featuring Fortnite, is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, and PlayStation 4.
Welcome back, you beautiful people, and it is time for our final round of the day. That's right, 6 rounds done, dusted, and we've got 2 players in particular who are looking very pretty at the top of the leaderboards. The X2 Twins just came off the back of a big victory royale as well. Shout out to all the Australian fans who are watching. Definitely a good moment for you. But before we get into our game number 7, we want to take a look at one of the biggest names that we have in Fortnite, one of the forefathers of competitive Fortnite, and that is, of course, Myth.
The way I got into Fortnite was simply, I seen the trailer drop when like day 1, that where they're like, hey, we're dropping Battle Royale. That day I just like got on and never got off really. So I think my play style, I have a lot of strengths in early game. I do pretty well at knowing how to navigate around a drop point to like win early game skirmishes, and I think that's really strong, something that's really useful. I guess my weakness would be is just like late game strategizing. Typically that's when my teammate or my partner would hold a little bit more weight than I do. But definitely when it comes to like early game encounters and early game skirmishes, I tend to pull my weight there quite a bit. The most important aspect of Fortnite is just decision making. Like being able to like change up your playstyle or change up the decisions you make based on the format that you're playing under to get the most like success out of it is in my opinion like the biggest thing. Like, being in like the competitive community and constantly practicing against other people and constantly improving and achieving new heights in your own gameplay, kind of like taking time to sit down and reflect and just doing that regularly is something that helps me like realize like I could do this professionally, that I could go up against the best. I think the coolest experience would just be being able to like come to events like this and outside of the game just hang out with all the people that I like know online. Like that's really cool. Like being able to see some of like the EU guys that I've like casted over before is definitely awesome, and I wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise.
What a fantastic guy, Myth there, having a lot of fun here and performing pretty well as well. Go on, Jason, you've got something you wanted to bring,
it's actually
bring in here.
For people who don't know, that was like the cleaning people, because like he was sitting here still dancing to the wee hours of the night. They actually had to kick him out because they needed to close the entire expo. But he wanted to keep dancing, so I just wanted to point that out there. It was great.
He's looking good at the moment, Myth. And I want to talk a little bit about his teammate Cloud as well, because an interesting point from that little VT there is he's saying towards the end game, sometimes, it's not his forte, but that's where he puts a little bit of weight onto his teammate. And Cloud has been making it to those end games on more than one occasion, staying alive, getting some decent placement points on the board when he's been on his own as well, which has been so impressive for me.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him come second place earlier on today. I mean, really unlucky that he ran out of mats and had to slide off a mountain in a very Myth-like style, but very, very consistent player. And I wonder who is calling the shots, though. Is it Myth? Is it Cloud? That's what I want to know.
Certainly going to be interesting to see how these guys perform. They've been doing pretty well today, but I think we need to focus on what is our main story coming towards the end of the day, and that is the dominance that we have seen in day one of the duos, coming in from Vinny and Zexro. Look at the standings here. 91 points between first and second place after 6 games of competitive Fortnite. Now, we need to explain how big a gap that is, Jason.
I have to blow your mind, first of all. 3 out of those 5 teams in top 5 have not won a Victory Royale.
There you go.
Just want to put that out for you, you know? That's a big deal. We have a lot of ninjas in there able to make their way through. We had Crip and Boyer constantly getting further and further as these games go along, and they're definitely putting in the work. But like you said, 91 points. That is an insane lead. And now it's a question of, can anyone stop them? Can anyone stop this train that's rolling down these tracks into these trophy lifts?
I mean, this could be risky. I mean, one of the top teams, if they really want to take home the crown at the end of the day, maybe they've got to have to drop on them.
That was my... I was literally just about to ask you that.
Exactly the same thing. I was like, who do you think is going to be the players in this lobby which we'll be thinking tomorrow at some point, all right, let's do this thing. Let's drop on them. Let's mess these standings up. Let's go for first place. Is there anyone that you know that's probably got that in the back of their mind?
I think everybody just expects everybody else to do it for them.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's kind of one of those things like, we hope it happens, but will it? I don't know.
And then for that one to kind of go on to that note, if you are these players that are number 1, Vinny and Zextro, do you change your style at all? Obviously, with them having that kind of lead, there's no need to, right? But do you maybe play a little bit more passive, knowing you have such a giant lead that you really need to have a game, or you really need to, more importantly, not have a game where you get no points? You need to consistently keep getting these points to keep that gap far as possible.
I mean, these guys are just going to play it how they've been playing it the entire time. Why stop something that's working so well? I can't believe how consistent they are when it gets to that late game. They could already have the worst early game as well, and I still think they would get to that late game no problem, because they're just absolutely fantastic players.
Yeah, they have been playing phenomenally well and so consistently all day. But tomorrow, as we know, is a brand new day. This isn't it. This isn't the 7 games duos done. We've got 7 more games tomorrow, gentlemen, and a lot can
so we'll
change
be back
in those
here
games.
tomorrow
As we say,
streaming those.
it can only take one particular game where they get no points on the board. They get a little bit unlucky on a drop. Someone does take that chance, and it opens the field up once again. So, you know, although we're 7 games, or 6 games in, I should say, and by the end of the day we'll be 7 games in, there still is that chance that that could all change tomorrow. But let's talk about some of the players who have gone under the radar a little bit that we haven't kind of focused on. 7S, SK7, and Jamside. These 2 gentlemen have been playing out of their minds today, and they are very much still in that contention.
I think the way they've been playing goes into a completely other topic as well at the same time. And this is something we wanted to mention on the desk, is when you take high ground. Like, when is that moment you go for it when it comes to the late game? We saw Jesse and Jordan do it with the Rift to Go. They're able to take high ground and maintain it. We've seen Jamside and 7SSK7 be able to do it consistently, and we'll dive into that a little bit of time here, but this is going to be a tough match now.
Well, here we go. Final round of the day is underway. Zacchaeus, Jason, it's been a pleasure to have you on the desk. Do it one more time for us.
Okay, so let's just go into that topic now. Let's just talk about it here, because when is that moment you decide, all right, we have to take high ground? Is it a kind of an understanding of what people have in their inventory and do not have to be that last one with a Rift to Go? Or what's it come down to, Zacchaeus?
It comes down to so many different things, Jason. It depends on your positioning, whether you're high enough already in a fight that you can actually just build up to it. Because a lot of times when you have the high ground, you kind of forget everything that is directly underneath you, beneath you, going off to the west, whatever, east, whatever side you're coming from. You can often find holes in that high ground. As we saw, Tux and Provoke did that very much earlier. In fact, to the Russian players, Jamside and SSK as well, they crept in from behind, and that's the difficult retake. What we saw with Jesse and Jordan, saving the items for the very, very late game. They must have rotated so much and risked so much to have that rift at that very point.
Right.
But again, it's not a guarantee that you will get the high ground. You don't know who's waiting for you at the top. There could be 2 teams lasering you from above. And it's not easy to do.
And I think we're seeing players like Demo and Bizzle who have the understanding of when to do it and why to do it, in terms of they let other people who take the high ground invest so much material to getting that high ground and maintaining it, and then they use that mobility item like the Rift to Go to get up there, or a launch pad to get up there, to take the high ground away from them, and then still have all of their own materials to use to maintain it for themselves. So it's not about taking high ground, It's about taking it at the right time with the right materials and the right inventory, and then be able to maintain it from there on.
Airwax actually taking out Rizart there in retail row, going down fast, and I believe the Japanese players are both out there. Very unlucky for them. They're not doing too well in this tournament right now, Jason.
Yeah, they're not. But again, just the first day, and that's something I really honestly hope to see coming into tomorrow, is seeing these players watch back their games, discuss what went well, what didn't go well, and change, because this is such a different format than a lot of people are used to. And you heard Myth in his video talking about, when these formats come around, you have to learn how to play them. And I feel like after this day of games, for all the players here except the Polish players who've already experienced it last week, that's their time. That's their opportunity to go into this and say, okay, what can we change up now going into our second day, because it's do or die time.
Yeah, I mean, one example for that is like, Milan. Like he's such an aggressive, fast, mechanical player, and I feel like he's gone too passive for his own good. That he's slowed himself down a little bit.
So he's changed his style too much?
Yeah, I think so. I think the nerves of the event, gets to people, and there'll be other players like that. I just use that as an example, and that, I think that was a lovely sniper shot there, coming in from behind.
Yeah, Shinken and Stompy looking to take a potential second victory out, and that's something we need to talk about here, Zach. We've had 2 days now. We've had 14 matches at the end of this one, and yet we've had no repeat victory royales. I think that's actually really cool to see. Even without the repeat victory royales, though, we still have that clear winner at the moment here with Vinny and Zexro.
That's very true. It's all up for grabs, really. I mean, well, apart from Vinny and Zexro, they're way ahead by the pack, almost 100 points. Big damage coming in here from Include. Can he find the elimination? He can. He knocks down his opponent. Madzen down. Now, just taking it slow was AR. I think he's going to go for the elimination down there, get that shield, and then push on to the last player, Seth, here.
This is an interesting actual thing when it comes to, I don't think we've even touched about it a single time on the desk over the course of this last week and a half, is letting a certain player get the elimination because they need the health and the shield more than you, right? Maybe you don't have the small shields, maybe you don't have the big shield pots. Letting someone try to get the elimination by assisting them so they get the extra HP to work with. It's kind of min-maxing how you can play, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, for instance, he had minis, he had been hit, but he wants to get it up quick. He wants to get that shield very quickly, and no better way of doing that than actually eliminating a safe player that's already in your safe space. It was the right decision to do, and now they have an opportunity to eliminate Seth and make it easy.
And I like how they're taking their time too, not rushing things. And now we have our victors from our last round here, the two Aussies, Jesse and Jordan, up against Nikov. And Airwax trying to maintain potentially a back-to-back Royale. Let's see, as we do have Airwax charging in. I think they know. They made the call. Nikov said, I did damage to Jordan, but they returned back onto him, taking that shield completely away.
It's going to be interesting. Is Jesse going to make a move for high ground? I think Jordan is. They're pushing on to Airwax here. He's by himself on that left-hand side, and they've seen the vulnerability, but they've got to watch out for this flank from Nikov as well. He's got an angle on both players here, but this could be very, very deadly for Airwax, and he's read the situation right. He's backing off, getting back to his teammate, getting back to the high ground.
But for how early on we are in this game now, Zacubus, this is a lot to invest into a fight. We saw the X2 boys do this before. We saw them do this, and it actually was one of their downfalls, but they eventually had no materials to build with and no way to escape, though they actually pushed the aggression, caught their opponents off guard, and did win that fight. But this is such a big commitment.
Yeah, and now the commitment comes in strong there from Jesse. Big damage coming into Airwax. So much damage. He's on 20 HP, and they're going to try and continue to pressure him as well.
Oh, Jesse, actually, Demo comes out of nowhere here, gets the down onto Jesse, gets the finish as well, and now the third party has come in. Sure, you can see towards the top left-hand side, just getting a couple of bullets rattling off in this direction. And Airwax has to be so happy that the cavalry is here, but he's got to be careful because he doesn't have a lot of health either.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And Jordan is pressured. He's going to run straight into Nikov, surely. He drops down and goes. He just eliminates himself by falling off the build. The pressure, the fear, and the anxiety got to him, and he just jumped off, had enough. And, he's going to be back on the bus, Jason.
So I wonder, well, no, he won't be. You have to go home now from this one. The bus won't pick up till
true.
tomorrow. I wonder, though, did he run out of materials? Or do you think that was a play out of him to be smart, to realize I can't pull off an elimination here? Let me take myself out so I don't give the points to anyone else. Do you think that was potentially a case, or do you think it was more like a misplay or running out of materials?
I mean, it makes complete sense. I mean, that is a very good point to make. But I think it was more the fact that he was out of match in that instance. I don't think he was thinking. I think he was just trying to survive as best as he could. Reacted to a problem too quickly for his own good, and then obviously, ow.
And now Aiden and Nick Merckx here on Tilted Towers. I think for the most part of today, they've been fairly successful when it's come to this. But this is a battle we wanted to see. FaxFox calling out, if you come to Tilted, you're gonna lose. But they've been the ones actually losing for the most part here.
Yeah, everybody's kind of having that stalemate sort of period in a fight when the damage has been dealt, trying to find the heals, but the action kicks off again here with Nick Merckx as he dives down and tries to regroup with his teammate here.
Aiden was being shot from behind her. Nice little position kind of aim here as he gets rushed down, caught off guard. The elimination was certainly going to come through as he will be dropped out of this fight for now. And now his teammate FaxFox looking to run away here and hopefully get into the placings. But again, Aiden, Nick Merckx putting their foot down saying, hey, Tilted is ours.
Very much so. They've been actually dominating that spot pretty much a lot of the times coming out of Tilted. They are still alive and doing very well, but it falls off towards the mid game as they get those rotations. I've only seen Aiden alive pretty much once in a late game situation.
That was I think that was last game too that we did see. In time Camo is actually lost out on Iza. I believe has lost out on history in this battle that's been going on here between these two players. Just trying to look for, again, an angle here. He's got a lot of materials to work with, so he's not in too big of a rush. And he knows that Fal's very low on HP. I think he's just trying to escape his Brazilian player looking to fight another day. I don't think Camo's going to let that happen.
No, and I don't think it is going to happen. Scram Sakona here in the back end of Paradise, and SSK and Jamside have been dropping it every time and been doing very, very well. This has been a very highly contested drop, as I said earlier, Jason, but SSK and Jamside have been owning it up pretty legit.
Well, don't commentators curse them here, Zach. You can see still that 91-point difference between number 1 and number 2. These are just like the 10 players we're keeping in a heavy eye on when it comes to this match. Stompy and Shinken, winners of round 3. Have Razru to worry about, but Razru's taken a lot of damage. He's lost out on his shield. X8's there to help out as well, but they're split apart.
Yeah,
Strength is in numbers.
That could be difficult. If they find an opportunity to push one of those players, it could be deadly for X8 and Razru there. But Scram and Sakona getting out. They're bottling out, but they've run into another team by the looks of it. Or maybe somebody rotating, actually. That was a quad crasher flying in the air that they just pop shots at it. See if they can get lucky, but
man. No. Look how much they have to build with 140 for Vinny, as they have Shifty Shafts pretty much to themselves. Gemside and 7 SSK7 has been able to get an elimination apiece here, looking for a second one on the board for East. They're up against Cloud and Myth, and right now Cloud's gonna get actually edited on. He gets a nice little shot through the window, but he's being shot from behind. I'm not sure if that was Myth or if that was another player, but in the meantime, Cloud will fall, and that's their 3rd elimination of this game.
Yeah, it was Myth. Good call. He tried to get an angle, but Myth is now getting third-partied from up on that hill. He's in a tough situation here, and Jamside and SSK aren't going to let it slide. They're pushing hard, and they will wrap that up very nicely, Jason.
4 limbs, 2nd circle in. They are putting in some serious work. They are gunning to take that first-place position, or at least to close that gap.
I think I know who was on that quad crasher, by the way. It must have been Myth and Cloud rotating, and they made quite a tactical error landing on, you know, basically the number 2 team right now.
See Little J's been down. 0-7's trying to help him out here, but again, he's got to fight out the 1v2. Little J will be finished off. He won't be back to fight here for the rest of today. And again, just clean plays here out of E11, Crippa and Boyer. And again, no victory out for them just yet. But if they keep playing like this, then they are going to be able to maintain that top 5.
Yeah, they've been creeping up very, very quickly. And also, Tomo and Item as well doing very well on the Ninja grind as well. We haven't really seen a lot of them. I'd love to see some more action from these players that are climbing the ladder without getting those victory royales.
Yeah, very, very important. And that just shows that just really emphasizes the format we have here, with the elims being worth 5 points each, and again, the standing points you do get. Milan and Smeeth, you know, we talked about before. You said Milan was playing a little bit different than his usual style, but they do have an elimination apiece here between these 2 players.
Maybe they're just getting the flow a little bit. You know, they've done a lot of games already that's not working out, and maybe they could just go, you know, we'll go for this.
So Eric just ditching Motor. Actually, maybe he's trying to flank around behind him, but I don't think Motor's actually going to be able to survive this as he's being aggressed on by Nick Merckx and Aiden. So I think we're going to have Fnatic lose out on a player now as Aiden's able to get that one. That's going to be the 2nd elim here now for the Tilted crew.
Now they've just got to get out of that storm, and they've got 1 player to go through as well as they try and exit there.
Mitro, Zayt, Sath, Kuna, all in the same position. Looks like 1 player from each team just going to retreat here from this one. And now, actually, Nick Merckx going to take down Eric, who eventually did come back to try to help out, but eventually cost them their chance here in round 7.
Yeah, tough there. And Zayt and Saf. Obviously, they got Mitro and Kuno right next to them, and they're currently in 13th position or 14th position even. So they're creeping up. They want to. They were kind of unlucky in the last game and actually dropped a few sort of you know, a few points there and slid down the leaderboard. But Mitro and Kuno are the team that could easily pull this back and cause an upset. We actually saw them fight earlier on in the last game too, and Zaf and Sate came out on top easy.
There we go. Devils 1, Nero and Tyovsky up in a battle up against two players trying to deal with Chap in 72 hours. And as you can see, fighting from the low ground will be the two Liquid boys. I think Tom's wondering when he can hop into the hot tub. I think he actually requested, whatever hotel you put me in, it better have a hot tub because I need my time in the tub.
Oh, he can't play without it. It's just that. It's a simple fact. He can't play without the tub.
Here, Kahuna. Mitro looking to chase onto Zate and Sap. This actually would be a big elimination if they can take them out of the fight here, who, you know, stop them from being in their top 5 leaderboards, maybe knock them down a couple of ranks here or there if they can potentially do so. And Smeeth and Milan looking to join the party as well. Saf has actually been caught out here, and he will be finished off in just a few seconds of time. So a good start here for the Atlantis boys.
Very, very nice. They're going to be happy with that. A little bit of revenge coming out for them. That's a big drop there from Saf.
Oh, the matching skins as well. You love to see it. There we go, Tyovsky. He's being pressured back. You can see the stink bombs coming through. You got to respect the Liquid guys. You really have to give them the credit where the credit is due here. They're trying to shoot down a wall, get the replace back in. 72 hours. And Chap, well, Chap with no shield. Maybe at the most disadvantageous position in this fight. But the Storm, it's closing in, and now someone's going to have to make the move, right, Zach?
Yep, this is right, Jason. They will have to make the move, and there it is with a launch pad. And of course, Tartsky Nero waiting for that.
Oh, Chap got knocked down mid-flight. He actually got incapacitated on the ground, so that's actually a little bit of a misstep for them. Actually, not even a misstep. That was the right play to make, but someone caught him off guard. Tartsky's going to get the finisher on him, and now it's just left to 72 hours by himself without a teammate.
Oh, I think Tux actually just picked up Lolito there, I think, as we just switched to him. So that's a nice little limb to get there. But
another duo that we've seen kind of ninja their way through, though, even though they did get a victory out in Game 4.
They were actually my favorite coming into this duo tournament as well. They've been performing so well in the pop-up cups, also in custom games as well. They've been annihilating it. They had a slow start, but look at their scores now. They're climbing up those leaderboards quite quickly now as they make 9th place.
So Faw's still alive, even though he lost history way earlier on. Nice to see him trying to survive as long as he possibly can, representing Brazil. You have Vinny and Zextro. I feel like they know there's a target on their back. And now it looks like Tux and Provoke going to get very aggressive as Ares has been knocked down. The revive, it might come through. 2 seconds left to go. The pressure's come through. The stink bomb's being thrown in as well. They're trying to stop this res from coming through, and they will not be able to do so. But the thing is, will their opponents be able to escape this one? Ares gets knocked to the ground now. Nowhere's trying to run away from this one, trying to protect himself. You would imagine Tux and Provoked is going to have this one easy.
It's a great time to be aggressive, but you also got to be a little bit scared. There's third-party elements that will happen here. Nord is in a very, very bad position here. Tux and Provoke want to play this aggressively. They want to gain these resources, these mats, everything coming out from these two players. And Ares has already fallen. Nord is just trying to mini up as best as he can. I think Tux and Provoke has slightly lost him, but Sakona and Scram actually may have an angle on the situation, so there could be a third party from that direction as well. So, Nord going for the high ground. Provoke doesn't read it right, climbed up and secures himself a little bit higher, maybe a bit safer, but there's stinks in play, so he's not safe as of yet. We'll have to see if Tux actually has any more of those stinks in his inventory.
And the thing is, the Storm will be closing in soon, so they want to clean up that elimination before Sakona and Scram can somehow pick up the elim themselves. Toma's going to fall. Item trying to run away from this one, and again, another top 5 team under some pressures. Jules is able to get some work done here with Miz. Nowhere's actually able to rotate him behind these two players, and Sidhu from Korea has actually been relatively quiet here so far, but has been able to make his way closer to the zone.
Item getting a little bit lucky on that rotation. No one focusing as he was scrambling away out of that situation. And now we switch over the action to Nero and Tyovsky. And they're spamming some dynamite there that's going to affect this build quite nicely. I would expect, there we go. 2 players drop down, have to rebuild. Waste a couple of mats here as well. But nobody else focusing them. When you do a dynamite play like that, you're kind of hoping other people will join in the fun, Jason. But they didn't. That's kind of disappointing.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't the fun zone, I guess, at the moment. Magan, you can see trying to rotate in, try to get himself safe. Faw, you can see to the left-hand side as well. 72 hours, who's lost Chap when they use the launch pad. Incline is going to be dropped down as well. This one by 72 hours. He's looking to get elimination. He will be able to secure it. So they at least have a minimum of 5 points on the board as we make our way through into the top 33 duos. Top 25 to place. So every team is just gunning to get into that for some guaranteed points.
The bush looks good on Chat, I must admit. It does look good on him, and he picked up that elimination onto Incline as well just a few moments ago too. Now we're back to Bowman and Alpha. They got shot out by Nick Merckx and Aiden in the last game. It was, on the rotation, it's sad to see, but it happens very well.
Wow, Wexy and Demento is just being pummeled from all directions. Funk Bomb gonna get one. So at least able to help capitalize off of other players' confusion and chaos that was going on. 72 hours, I mean, like we said, the bush is helping to protect him quite a bit here. Mitro gonna be on high ground at the same time, and another fight from earlier on, we saw Shinken and Stompy, and you just see just the lasers coming through here from the high ground. A nice little different view from what we saw before.
Yeah, things getting hectic there. Real fast. Replay shots coming out there from both sides. Incline and Marijuana actually picking this up very nicely in the early fight at the Aztec Temple.
There's some action towards Tilted as well, and you can see Saf just being shot out here. And Mitro and Kuna.
So it's the rotation that got Saf. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's the downside, right? Is yes, the launch pad can be very good for rotating, but the downside is you're very vulnerable while you're gliding through the air. And at the caliber of players that we do have here, they're gonna hit shots more often than not, especially in those situations. Now Mitro looking for Shantaniro, who's just trying to dive and dip away from this one. It ain't dodgeball, but he's looking to take no damage as he's trying to relocate back towards the zone.
I'm interested on how Zayt is currently doing as well. Apparently he's alive, still out there lurking. So maybe we'll see his name flash up on this chaos rotation that is now happening as we enter the southeast zone.
See Milan still alive too. I think this is one of the furthest games they've been able to get. Fa is actually still alive. A player we pointed out way earlier on as he lost out on history. Provoked and Tuck still there as well. You see the Jam side, 7SSK7 able to rain down the pain. They have a rift to go though, so I would imagine they're looking for the opportunities we're talking about before to take that high ground.
Just imagine if they could find the elimination onto Vinny and Zexro here in this kind of area of the points, you know, 29 teams remaining, 25 teams remaining as well. And Zay on the very edge of the zone. I think he's just using a campfire to heal himself up, and no pressure actually towards him on that end of the circle. So maybe he'll recover this, hopefully. But Vinny and Zexro are still leading the charge, and they're still out there.
And to X8, who did get down, looks like he will be finished off by Kilos. You can see Jules very careful about the peaks he does go for. This Bowman and Alpha still looking to get a high ground position, but we're getting into the moving storms here, Zakibus, and this is where things are going to get very hectic for all of these players. Demo has been dropped. 72 hours this fight. Item did secure the elimination onto Demo, so we've talked about Item and Tomo, and they're consistently getting into these high placements yet again.
I believe Vinny is the only one live here coming out from the TSM boys. That's it. He's by himself, same as Zay as well. But the rotations are now happening, and now the shots are firing coming in from Miz here. Lasers up a little bit of the build, but not landing any direct damage. He wants to try and maintain the high ground here. Can he find it? Will he be contested?
Oh, Razaru, the old Razzle Dazzle as he flies through the air and is eliminated in the sky. A little bit unfortunate for him, but again, at least you have tomorrow to play another time, another round around. Item's still there, trying to contest as well. Here's Excalibur's gonna be finished off by Nikov. We can hear the shots rallying off, and the two players of Jules and Mitch just trying to stick together and make sure they can make this work. Jam side again on high ground with 7SSK7. We talked about this so many times. Able to maintain the high ground positions, don't have a single victory royale, and yet they're in the top 5 currently.
And have 5 eliminations as well to boot. They're in a great position to capitalize on a hell of a lot more points here, Jason, if they can just keep their cool and play it safe. Just not overcommit to a situation. They've already got the elims. They just need the placements right now.
Another rip to go coming through. 7SK7 trying to maintain this high ground position. You see Stompy is still going to be their warrior as well. I think Sky has fallen. Crippa trying to run around, trying to help keep themselves alive. Item trying to get a little bit further ahead as well. No one is challenging this high ground position, and this is so big here for the VP boys. If they can maintain this even longer, the problem is though, they're running out of materials because they're the ones being forced to build across to keep that position.
It's really hard to actually for anybody to try and contest the high ground here as we go enter low ground area here, but I've been mistaken before, and it has happened here as Bowman and Alpha have capitalized on the top ground.
Well, the VP guys are out of this one. Kilos trying to survive. He's got 200 HP to work with here. Item actually takes down Fa. Fa's been able to make it into like top 7 when he lost his teammate within the first 2 circles. That man's done Insane work here as Kripa's going to take down Kilos. Now trying to drop down here. 10 builds left to go. 8 now for Bowman. Kripa takes down Alphen from the low ground. You can see, and you can hear the traps, the miniguns, everything being thrown out here. The shotguns as well coming in, and we're down to 6 players.
Wow, what a play coming in from Boya and Kripa, pushing the high ground immensely well there, taking out Bowman as well. Brilliant retake of the high ground there. Great play on 5 eliminations. It's all to play for as we have 5 players left.
3 duos left to go as well. Kripa and Boyer, 8 eliminations for themselves. They could have another 3 added to the list here if they can keep this pace up here. But Boyer's been knocked down. He actually fell off of this one. I think he ran out of materials, and that's going to be unfortunate because now Kripa has to be the one to defend. He's got 127 HP. He's got the good weaponry to actually pull this off. But Vilix, look at him. He's actually been able to take the high ground himself. The Storm is continuing to move. He's got nothing left to build with. And where is he going to fall? He's looking for the shot. He connects, and he's going to ride this to hopefully to a victory. And he comes back in. Vilix and Kinzo with 6 eliminations. My lord, he had me wondering what was his plan.
Oh,
but it pays off.
Jason, the zipline play comes in huge there. Absolutely massive play there coming in from Vilix.
Alright guys, I appreciate everyone coming in and watching this. I'll be on live later on to stream some Fortnite. And until then, I will see y'all next time. Appreciate everyone stopping by.